Chapter 1709. Before returning to the 64th state, Sima Yue received the news that the Xianqiu clan and the Ouyang clan led the other clans to the Northern Du clan and exterminated the Northern Du clan. Their tens of thousands of years of foundation was destroyed just like that. At the same time, the Yang family members who were hiding there were also found and killed. Although there were many people who managed to escape, for the huge Northern Du family and Yang family, it was already insignificant. Even if they escaped today, they would not be able to appear so brazenly in the future. They would be hunted down by the entire continent. Furthermore, it was impossible to use those corpses. As long as there was even the slightest trace, it would be discovered. I really didn't expect this matter to be resolved so easily. The stone hanging in Sima Luxian's heart finally fell. Although he had expected this result, he was still amazed by the speed. They brought all of this upon themselves. If they didn't do such a thing, it wouldn't be so easy for anyone to touch them. Sima Yue said. However, I don't think this matter will end so easily. Sima Luxian's expression also became dignified. There are some people behind this who want the world to become chaotic. This is not a small matter. I think the aftermath will be bigger. Sigh in the end. We've become someone else's chess piece. Sima Yue sighed. Don't think too much about it. They were the ones who provoked us first. We were just trying to protect ourselves. Sima Luxian said. Besides, there is no absolute right or wrong in this world. We just have to do what we think is right. Yes. Sima Yue did not feel that she had done anything wrong. The undead were already against the heavenly Tao, not to mention that those people wanted to kill her and her clansmen. Sure enough, a few days later, they received news that the clans and sects supported by the Northern Du clan had all suffered different degrees of blows. Although their names were different, at such a sensitive time, everyone could guess a thing or two. Not only that, but among the forces that had participated in the battle back then, a few of them had suffered heavy injuries, and their strength had decreased by a lot. Their enemies had taken advantage of the situation and destroyed their clans. After these, there were other forces that joined in the battle. There were news of forces being destroyed one after another, and one after another fell. When Sima Yue heard the news, she had already returned to the Sima family. Other than a sigh, she could not give them anything else. Now the outside world was changing rapidly, and all of this was driven by her hands. Just like dominoes, she was the first to fall, and the rest followed suit. This was no longer something she could control. What touched her the most was the news of the Devil Sword's rebirth. A few years ago, it was unknown who had obtained the Sky Splitter and had been silent for a few years. Who would have thought that it would appear again now? Because of it, the battle outside had become more and more intense, and many people would die every day. Fortunately, those people were apprehensive of the Phoenix clan and the Bird clan. So the forces related to Sima Yue were able to obtain temporary peace in this chaotic world. Those people asked for it. Little Lucky jumped into her embrace and said, My father said before that all of this was caused by the greed of humans. If they were not greedy, there would be fewer battles. Some are, but some aren't. They were forced by this situation and had no choice but to get involved in these matters. Sima Yue sighed. That's what you humans always say about survival of the fittest. The strong survive while the weak are eliminated. Sima Yue looked at Little Lucky, who was tilting her head and racking her brains. She smiled and patted her head. The outside world is so chaotic. I wonder how Li and Little Roar are doing. Are they in any danger? Enlei, who had walked in from outside the courtyard, heard her words and smiled. Young miss, you don't have to worry. With Little Roar's temperament, if he met with any danger, how could he not contact you? Since he didn't, it means that he's having fun and forgetting about home. Sima Yue smiled. You're right. I'm also confused because I'm involved. Young miss, you're confused because you're too concerned. Enlei said. Sima Yue admitted, but she still sent a message to Shiman Feng, asking him to send more people to protect Shiman Li. After doing this, she said to Enlei, Enlei, I promised you before that I'll help you pull out your mother's grave. Since we have time now, let's make a trip there. Young miss, it's so chaotic outside. We shouldn't go out now. We can go to my mother's grave anytime. Enlei hesitated and rejected. Are you worried that the Eastern Lai clan will harm me? Sima Yue said. Don't worry, they won't do anything to me. Enlei looked at her disapprovingly. Young miss, I understand the Eastern Lai clan better than you. They don't tolerate betrayal. They already know that you killed Eastern Lai Li, and will definitely want to take revenge on you. Since you understand the Eastern Lai clan, you should know that they stopped working with the Northern Du clan as a statement. Don't worry, if they can talk nicely, we'll talk nicely with them. If they don't want to talk nicely, we'll talk with force. Sima Yue waved her fist. Alright, go and prepare. I'll go and talk to father. Sima Lu Xian wanted to go too, but something happened in the clan, so he had to stay. The moment she walked out of the clan, Sima Yue's heart suddenly panicked. She subconsciously reached out and pressed her chest, but she couldn't suppress that inexplicable emotion. She turned around and looked at the door of the Sima family. She was a little dazed. It seemed that if she left, she wouldn't be able to come back, and Lei saw that her expression was a little off and said, Young miss, what's wrong? I'm fine, let's go. Sima Yue turned around and left. At the same time, Sima Lu Xian, who was discussing something with Sima Ji Yuan, also felt a little panicked. It was as if his heart had been hollowed out. What's wrong with you? Sima Ji Yuan saw that his expression had changed and asked. Sima Lu Xian touched his chest and said, I feel like something big is going to happen. No, clan master, leave this matter to someone else. I want to go with you. After speaking, he ran out directly without waiting for Sima Ji Yuan to say anything. He knew that Sima Yue had left for a while and quickly chased after her. Finally, he caught up with her at the Spirit Master Guild. Father, why are you here? Sima Yue blinked to make sure that it wasn't an illusion. I've talked to your great-grandfather. I'll go with you, Sima Lu Xian said. He agreed? I agreed. Sima Lu Xian said, Let's go, don't think of leaving father behind. Chapter 1710. Remember it in 1 second and read it at any time. Mobile users, please visit. Sima Yue thought of the feeling she had before she left and nodded. She held Sima Lu Xian's arm and said, With father around, I'm not afraid of anything. Let's go, there's still some distance to Eastern Lai clan. Sima Lu Xian said. The three of them entered the Soul Master Guild, paid the money, and left through the teleportation array. After a few rounds, they slowly entered the Eastern Lai clan's territory. If only every province had a spatial ship. Sima Yue had used the teleportation array for a month, which was much more uncomfortable than sitting on the teleportation array for a month. The cost of making a spatial transmission was too high, and the materials were not easy to collect. It was impossible for every province to have it. Enlei, how much longer until we arrive? Sima Yue asked. If it's too far, let's rest for a while. We'll be there in about 10 days. Enlei said, We're already within the Eastern Lai clan sphere of influence. We'll be there soon. 10 more days? Sima Yue patted her waist. Forget it, we're not in a hurry anyway. Let's go to a nearby city and rest for 2 days. Of course, Sima Lu Xian and Enlei didn't have any objections. She was the leader anyway, so she could do whatever she wanted. It would only take him 2 days at most. They went to the nearest city and found an inn to rest. Sima Yue remembered that they had been busy recently and had not had a good rest, so she took the two of them out shopping, saying that it was for her to relax. After a day of shopping, the three of them entered a tea house to rest. Sima Yue had a habit of going to the tea house because she could always hear the latest news there. Sure enough, as soon as they sat down, they heard the people at the next table talking about something she was interested in. Do you guys know? The Devil Sword Sky Splitter seems to have appeared around here. A fully bearded man mysteriously said to the people at the same table. Sky Splitter Devil Sword? Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian looked at each other and didn't say anything. They were paying attention to what those people were saying. Are you telling the truth? Why would the Devil Sword Heaven Splitter appear here? The other person was extremely surprised. Didn't you say that it appeared in the first few prefectures? How long ago was that? It's been almost 2 years since the two hidden clans brought people to exterminate the Northern Du clan. How could they still be there? That big bearded man said proudly. In this 1 year since the birth of the Devil Sword Heaven Splitter, How many people have lost their lives for it? But fortunately, it only appeared for a year before falling silent again. Otherwise, who knows how many storms it would have caused? A white-clothed youth at another table said. At the same table as him, there were a few other people dressed similarly. Hey, you said that the devil sword heaven splitter disappeared? Then why did you say that big beard appeared nearby? Someone asked. Of course, I saw it with my own eyes. The bearded man gulped down a bowl of wine. You don't know, but I almost lost my life at that time. Fortunately, I ran fast enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to drink here. After he finished speaking, everyone in the tea house laughed. Big Beard, keep bragging. If you saw the heaven splitter devil sword, would you still be able to survive? He should have been chopped into pieces long ago. You Big Beard, you've been bragging too much recently. I'm telling the truth. The bearded man thought that everyone would flatter him, but he didn't expect that no one would believe him. At this time, the waiter came to serve tea. Seeing that Sima Yue and the rest were paying attention to the bearded man, he smiled and said, Guests, don't listen to the bearded man's nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, then why are there so many people listening to him? Enlay asked. Isn't everyone just here to pass time and have some fun? The waiter said. This bearded man is a regular here. Sometimes when he brags, it really sounds like it's true. It can bring fun to everyone, so no one will pursue it. But everyone knows that his words can only be listened to. They can't be believed. Guests, your things are all here. Please enjoy. After the waiter finished speaking, he carried the tray down. Sima Yue took a sip of tea and looked at the bearded man. Bearded man, since you said you've seen it, then describe the scene to us. Someone followed his words. I'll say it. The bearded man drank another bowl of wine, and then talked about how he saw the heaven splitter devil sword. He said that 10 days ago he was hunting spirit beasts near a city not far from here, and completed a mercenary mission. When he chased the injured spirit beast into the depths of the mountain, he saw two people in the middle of a battle. Sensing that the other party was much stronger than him, he didn't get close. Instead, he chose to hide and watch the situation from afar. The battle between the two was coming to an end. Not long after, one of them killed the other, and snatched the sword from the dead man's hand. He even said, A trash like you is worthy of the heaven splitter devil's sword? You overestimate yourself. When the bearded man heard the name Heaven Splitter Devil Sword and thought of that person's terrifying strength, he hid in the same place and didn't go out. It wasn't until that person left for a long time that he escaped from there. After saying that, he described the appearance of the devil sword. After he finished speaking, he looked at the crowd proudly, waiting to hear their cheers. In the end, the entire tea house was silent for a few seconds before everyone burst into laughter. Bearded man, this is the worst story you've ever made up. That's right, your storytelling skills have regressed a lot. Bearded man, you're still better at talking about things from the past. Don't come out and embarrass yourself. That's right, ha ha ha. The bearded man's face turned red from their laughter. He didn't know if it was because his lie was exposed or because these people didn't believe him. What I said is true. This time, I really experienced it myself. The bearded man tried to convince others, but no one believed him. Instead, everyone laughed even more happily. Usually you all believe in lies, but now that I'm telling the truth, you don't believe it. The bearded man was depressed. Bearded man, it's not that we don't believe you, but your story is too fake. If you saw someone else snatching the heaven splitter devil sword, and such a powerful person, wouldn't he kill you to silence you and let you escape alive? Bearded man, tell me, is this possible? How is it not possible? That person didn't notice me, so I was able to escape. The bearded man said. But you said that person is very strong. I have a secret technique to hide my aura. At that time, I hid my aura, so he didn't notice me. Boast, continue to boast. Ha ha ha. I'm not talking to you anymore. Seeing that no one believed him, the bearded man was furious. He took out 2 middle-grade crystals, threw them on the table and left. The laughter of the people in the tea house followed him and floated far away. Only Sima Yue and the other 2 remained silent from beginning to end. Remember, in 1 second, read the highlights at any time, Mobile users please visit. This chapter is chapter 1700. News of the demonic sword murdering the heavens. The address is //. If you feel that this chapter is not bad, please do not forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 1711. You actually don't believe what I said. TSK, you people with no moral character can't see the true face of the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword. Oh, wait until I have the strength. Because Big Beard was drunk, he walked a little unsteadily, and his mouth kept muttering. When he turned into an alley, he saw a person at the end of the alley. He narrowed his eyes and looked at him, swaying as he said, "I've seen you before at the tea house. Speak. Why are you following me?" Sima Yue did not expect him to be so quick-witted when he was drunk. She stood deep in the alley with her hands behind her back and said, "I'm just here to listen to the rest of your story." "What story?" The bearded man was stunned and didn't understand what she meant. "The story you didn't finish in the tea house," Sima Yue said. "Do you believe what I said?" The bearded man was happy. He didn't expect that someone would believe him and come to listen to his story. Sima Yue smiled at him. "Yes, I believe you." "Why?" The bearded man looked at her suspiciously. Why did she believe him when no one in the tea house believed him? Under Sima Yue's easygoing gaze, the smile on her face faded. "Because I've seen." "Have you seen him before?" What had she seen? Sky Splitter Devil Sword? The bearded man's brain short-circuited. "I've seen the demonic sword Sky Splitter before. It's just like what you described before. So I believe what you said is true." Sima Yue said. "Can you tell me more about the situation?" "Little girl, seeing how beautiful you are, I still advise you not to have any ideas about the demon sword, or else you will lose your life." Thinking of the scene he saw that night, he sobered up a lot. When Sima Yue saw his expression, she knew that things were not as simple as he had said in the tea house. "Because I've seen the Devil Sword Sky Splitter before, I'm a little curious about its owner." "You just have to say what you want. It's my business whether or not I want it." Sima Yue took out a spatial bag and threw it to him as she spoke. It was filled with crystals. When the bearded man saw that there were so many spar inside, he was overjoyed. He placed the space bag inside his spatial ring and then said, "That night, what I saw was actually not a battle between two people, but a person using the Devil Sword Sky Splitter to slaughter a group of people. That's a few hundred monarch-level experts. TSK, don't leave a single one alive." Sima Yue frowned. She did not expect this to happen. "Did you get a good look at the person holding the sword?" "How can I see it clearly?" "That person was wearing a cloak that could isolate divine sense. He didn't take it off from beginning to end. I don't know what he looked like at all." Big Beard said, "But I think he's a madman." "Why?" "Because I found that when he killed, he seemed to be a little delirious, or rather, he couldn't control himself. There were a few times when I saw him hesitate, but he still killed those people cruelly." Big Beard said. "It's said that this devil sword can control a person's mind. I think he must have been controlled." "Where is the place you're talking about?" "It's in the Green Dragon Mountain, a few 100,000 kilometers away from you." "Did you do anything at that time? Did you collect the corpses of those people?" "I was scared silly. When I came to my senses, I only wanted to run. How could I think of anything else?" Big Beard said. "I got it. You can go." Sima Yue nodded. "Let me give you a piece of advice. If you still want to live, don't mention this matter again. If that person knows that you witnessed the situation, I'm afraid you won't be able to talk so loudly in the tea house anymore." After saying that, she silently disappeared from her original spot. There was no movement in the air at all. Big Beard even suspected that he was hallucinating. He looked inside his spatial ring. The space bag with the crystals was still there. This meant that this was not an illusion. Thinking of the advice she gave before she left, he couldn't help but shudder. She was right. If that person knew about this, he would definitely lose his life. He looked around the alley. After confirming that there was no one around, he quickly left the city. In the future, he would never come back. When Sima Yue returned to the tea house, the people inside were still talking about Big Beard's bragging. "Did you ask clearly?" "Yes." Sima Yue sat down and told them what she asked. Then she said, "Should we go to the Green Dragon Mountain to take a look?" "Miss, the Green Dragon Mountain is under the jurisdiction of the Green Dragon Clan. Could this be done by the Green Dragon Clan?" Enlei asked. "It's possible that they died," Sima Yue guessed. "Anyway, it's not far from here. Let's go and take a look," Sima Luxian said. He knew that Sima Yue had been brooding about the birth of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword. She felt that if it wasn't for her, nothing would happen to the Devil Sword, and it wouldn't have brought so much trouble and death. Now that they were so close to the Devil Sword, she definitely wanted to check it out. "Miss, the Green Dragon Clan is the eyes of the Eastern Lai Clan. If we go, should we disguise ourselves?" Enlei asked. "No need. We didn't sneak in," Sima Yue said. "Also, if I didn't guess wrongly, the Eastern Lai Clan already knows that we're here." So, the three of them returned to the inn, checked out and rushed to the Green Dragon Mountain. Because the distance wasn't very far, Sima Yue directly let Chongming ride. 2 days later, they appeared at the place that Big Beard mentioned. The entire hillside and valley were filled with corpses. Judging from the degree of decomposition, they had indeed been dead for more than 10 days. Sima Yue looked around and found many fresh footprints. She said, "It seems that someone has beaten us to it. It seems that we weren't the only ones who believed Big Beard's words in the tea house. Miss, look," Enlei pointed to a corpse in the distance. "It's that Big Beard." They went over and saw Big Beard lying on the ground, staring at the sky with his eyes wide open. Before he died, his eyes revealed endless remorse. "He died less than half a day ago," Sima Yue said. "Those people should have caught him later and brought him here. They didn't find any news about the Devil Sword, so they killed him. Who asked him to boast in a place like the tea house?" Enlei didn't feel sorry for Big Beard's death. He deserved it. "These corpses." Sima Luxian looked at the corpses carefully. So many people died, but there aren't many bloodstains on the ground. Have you seen how it killed people? The Devil Sword Sky Splitter is bloodthirsty. It should have sucked their blood. Sima Yue's heart sank. Using blood to nourish the sword, this book came from. Sima Yu and the other two watched from the Spirit Pagoda, as the people outside rummaged through the corpses to register them. After that, they recorded their identities and took their things. Finally, they dug a huge hole and buried all the corpses together. After everything was settled, they all left. Enlei said that those people could leave now, but Sima Yue waited for a while longer. A few minutes later, those people came back. Seeing the empty valley, eldest senior brother's eyebrows were still furrowed. "Why do I feel like someone is watching us? Was it really just my imagination?" he muttered to himself before leaving with his men. Sima Yue waited for a while. After confirming that they had really left, she came out of the Spirit Pagoda. "That person is really sensitive," Sima Luxian sighed. "I know that eldest senior brother. He's a core disciple of the Azure Dragon Clan. It's said that he's very talented and meticulous. He's also very capable. He's being nurtured as the next leader," Enlei said. "Since they've already buried them, we don't have to care about them. Let's go to Eastern Lai Clan." After walking for a while, they arrived at a sea area. Eastern Lai Clan was on an island in the middle of the sea area. Enlei brought them to a small town by the sea. From an outsider's point of view, this small town was no different from the others. There were fishing nets everywhere, and there were pickled dried fish. "This is the entrance to Eastern Lai Clan?" Sima Yue looked at the small town, and said with some surprise. "Wasn't this too different from Xianqiu Clan and Northern Du Clan? Outsiders can only enter through the teleportation array here," Enlei said. "Eastern Lai Clan's people can't. But if we go in like that, we might be killed as invaders before we even get close. I really didn't expect that Eastern Lai Clan would hide behind such an inconspicuous small town," Sima Yue sighed. "Then what should we do next?" "Go find the mayor and let him contact the island. He'll only open the teleportation array for us if they agree," Enlei said. "You should know where the teleportation array is, right? Why can't we go by ourselves?" Sima Yue asked. "For the safety of the clan, this teleportation array is specially made. Only the mayor's spiritual energy can open it. He's like a key. Only he can open it. Enrich said. Others can't? What about Eastern Lai clan? I just said that the clansmen usually don't go through this path. Enrich said. Alright, using a person as a key. This method was indeed quite safe. As long as the mayor was unwilling, no one could force their way through here. Even if they killed him, it would be the same. Let's go find the mayor. Sima Luxian said. Enrich brought them to the mayor's house. When the mayor got the news, he quickly came out of his house and personally welcomed them in. Miss Yue, please take a seat. The mayor happily brought them to the living room. He wasn't surprised by their arrival. Thank you. Sima Yue and Sima Luxian sat down. Enrich stood behind Sima Yue. Enrich, you followed Miss Yue. Look at you now. You're much more cheerful than before. The mayor said with a smile. Miss treats me very well. Enrich replied indifferently. The mayor's words seemed to be very familiar with her, but Enrich's attitude was very calm. She didn't offend him, but she didn't get close to him either. He didn't care about her in the past. What was there to say now? Mayor Eastern Lai, we're here today for something. We want to go to Eastern Lai clan. I wonder if you can contact them? Sima Yue said directly. The clan already knew that Miss Yue came here. So they sent an order over. If you want to go to the island, there's no need to report. We'll send you there directly. No need to report? They already knew that we would come? They didn't know. They just said that if you came, you can go there directly. Aren't you afraid that I'll harm you? My clan master said that Miss Yue isn't that kind of person. Since you're in a hurry, I'll send you there now. This book came from Chapter 1713. Sima Yue did not expect the Donglai family to be so sincere. Please search to see the most complete. They knew that if they didn't provoke her, she wouldn't do anything to them, so they tried their best to show their sincerity. Perhaps they knew that if Sima Yue insisted on going to the island, they would not be able to stop her. The mayor brought them to an inconspicuous courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard, there was a huge teleportation array. When Yue and the other two walked to the center, the mayor injected his spiritual power into the array and activated it. The three of them quickly disappeared. Enrich really found a good home. If only Miss could have someone like her. The rest of his words were drowned in a long sigh. Sima Yue arrived at East Lai Island. At first, the people guarding the teleportation portal were a little surprised to see someone coming over. However, when they saw Enrich, they let their guard down. Miss Yue, the patriarch invites you in. A man who looked like he was in charge came in from outside. Obviously, the family here had received news of her arrival. Please lead the way. Sima Yue smiled politely when she saw the steward's attitude. The Eastern Lai clan was right in the middle of Eastern Lai Island. They had built a huge palace. Sima Yue followed that person directly to the biggest palace. She saw the Eastern Lai clan leader and his wife waiting there. They were also Eastern Lai Li's parents. Miss Yue, please take a seat. Eastern Lai Li's father waved his hand at Sima Yue, indicating for her to sit on the seat below. As juniors, Sima Yue and Sima Luxian bowed to them, and sat at the side. You are Sima Yue. Eastern Lai Li's mother's attitude was much colder. She felt uncomfortable facing her daughter's murderer. However, she did not intend to apologize to them because she was not the one in the wrong. If Eastern Lai Li didn't want to kill her, she wouldn't have killed her. She was the effect, not the cause. May I know the purpose of Miss Yue's visit to my island this time? Patriarch Donglai asked. Actually, it's very simple. Enrich wants to bring her mother's grave out. Now that she's with me, her mother's grave naturally has to be moved. Therefore, I would like to ask Master and Madam of the Donglai family to do us a favor. Sima Yue explained her intentions. The family head's wife glanced at Enrich. Enrich seemed to be very afraid of the family head's wife. Just that glance made her body involuntarily shrink. Is that all you want to talk about? Ha ha ha, for such a small matter, you can just let Enrich do it. There's no need for you to personally make this trip. The Donglai family had laughed loudly. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him in her heart. If only Enrich came, she might not be able to return. I have nothing to do at home recently, so I came out for a walk. Although Enlay came to my place in the name of my maid, she and I are like sisters. I naturally have to accompany her when it comes to moving graves, she said with a smile. Then when do you plan to move? As soon as possible. Before we came, we asked someone to calculate the time. Tonight is the best time, Sima Yue said with a smile. She realized that ever since they arrived, Enlay's emotions had become very tense. Her body had been in a tense state, so she wanted to settle this matter as soon as possible and leave. If that's the case, I'll get someone to prepare it, the Donglai family had said enthusiastically. There's no need for that. Everything that needs to be prepared has been prepared. We just need to go over when the time comes, Sima Yue said. That's fine too, the Donglai family had said. There's still a few hours before midnight. Do you want to rest in the guest room, or let someone bring you around the island for a tour? Since Enlay used to be a maid here, then let her show us around. She should know where she can go and where she can't. Enlay is no longer a maid on the island. How can we let her do the work of a maid? How about this? I'll send 2 stewards to bring you around. Then we'll have to trouble you, Donglai family head. Sima Yue did not decline anymore. Sending people to follow them was also a form of surveillance. If this could make them feel at ease and the matter could be resolved smoothly, then so be it. After they left, tears fell from the madam's eyes. The Donglai family had glared at her impatiently. Why are you crying? You're so unlucky. I don't want to either, but when I see her, I think of our dead daughter. The madam's tears fell even harder. She only has herself to blame for that. If you didn't spoil her so much, she wouldn't have ended up like this. Me? Are you blaming me now? As Lier's parents, we couldn't avenge her after she died. Instead, we blamed her for provoking someone she shouldn't have. That's not what you taught Li. Or when she was alive. The madam shouted angrily. Isn't it because you spoiled her? The Donglai family head was sad when he mentioned Eastern Lai Li. Forget it. No matter what, it's all in the past. I'll tell you one more time. Sima Yue is not someone we can touch now. If you're thinking about the family, then put away those thoughts you had in the past. Otherwise, the entire family will die because of your actions. I understand too. Otherwise, why haven't I done anything until now? Sima Yue. If we had killed her the first time we met her, our child wouldn't have died. What kind of thoughts are you having? Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk to you. The Donglai family head was helpless because this was not the first time she had this thought. The other party didn't offend her at all, but she wanted to nip the problem in the bud, regardless of whether it would hurt the innocent. Some of Eastern Lai Li's thoughts were influenced by her. Sima Yue and the rest walked around some places, and finally came to the seaside to watch the sunset. The 2 stewards were left behind by Sima Yue. Young mistress, although it's not right to speak ill of master in the past, you mustn't be influenced by them. Enlay said, do you think your young mistress is such a foolish person? Their kindness towards us is only based on our current power. They aren't really kind. If the Donglai family was kind, you wouldn't have suffered so much in the past. Those who betrayed the family wouldn't have been hunted down. Of course, they wouldn't have developed a personality like Eastern Lai Li's. Sima Yue said, but this is good for us. It's helpful for the things we need to deal with. Then we don't have to pursue so much. There are many bad people in this world, but as long as they don't provoke us, we don't have to kill them all. I'm just afraid that young mistress will be bewitched by them and let her guard down, falling into their trap. Enlay said uneasily. This book came from Chapter 17-14. Sima Yue knew that Enlay was wary of the Donglai family. It was imprinted in her bones since she was young. It was not something that could be changed after following her for a few years. Please search to see the most complete. Update the fastest. Don't worry. She patted Enlay's hand and suddenly understood how Aunt Feng and the others felt when they patted her hand. Relax, no one will dare to bully you here. Yes. Although Enlay said so, she was still very cautious. Don't be afraid, father and I are here. Sima Yue smiled at her. Enlay's eyes instantly reddened. In the past, when she was bullied here, she wished that someone would say to her, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." At that time, her life had been so difficult, but no one had ever said that. He didn't expect to hear these words when he returned. "Miss." She held Sima Yuyue's hand and felt a lump in her throat. She could not say anything else. "How old are you? Why are you still crying?" Sima Yue poked her nose and teased. "I didn't. It's just that the sea breeze is too strong, causing me to squint." Enlei said embarrassedly. Sima Yue smiled and stopped teasing her. When the time came, an elder came to take them to the cemetery. The whole process was very simple. Sima Yue, her father, and Enlei lit incense for her mother. Then, the guards from the Donglai family started to dig the grave until the coffin was unearthed. Enlei walked over and held onto the coffin with both hands as tears streamed down her face. "Mother, I'll take you with me." She cried for a while before keeping the coffin into her space ring and returning to Sima Yue's side. "Enlei, where's your father?" "My father once went out to sea and died at sea. That's why there are no skeletons." Enlei wiped her tears. "When my mother was buried, my father's belongings were also placed inside. It can be considered as a joint burial for them. Now, our family can be reunited again." Sima Yue understood and said to the clan elder, "Clan elder, now that the coffin has been retrieved, we still have to rush back for the auspicious time to be buried. Could you please do us a favor and send us out?" "So fast?" "The clan had also said to let you stay on the island for a few more days, so that we can do our best as hosts," the elder said with some surprise. "We have already calculated the time. Otherwise, it would be a long time before the next auspicious hour. That's why I'm in a rush," Sima Yue said casually. "Since that's the case, we really can't keep you here. I'll send you out now." After the elder made the suggestion, he was secretly delighted and couldn't wait to send them away. After Sima Yue and the other two left, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally sent this god of plague away. It was great that no conflict had occurred. The people in the town did not expect them to return so soon. Before they could inform the mayor, Sima Yue and the rest had already left. After getting her mother's body, the thing that Enlei had been thinking about was finally done. She was in a good mood along the way. "Miss, did you notice that the moment the teleportation array was activated, those people's expressions were really nice? TSK, I've never seen them like that before. It was as if we were the god of plague. Now that we're finally gone, it's really worth celebrating," Enlei said with a smile. Who would describe themselves like that? Sima Yue also found it funny, because they had a grudge with her. When she came here, they all acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Now that she was gone, they would naturally be relieved. "Speaking of which, where do you plan to bury your mother?" Enlei shook her head and said, "I don't want to bury her. I'll just bring them along. This way, no matter where we go, our family of 3 will be together." She touched her space ring. As long as she was still here, her family of 3 would be here. Are we going back now?" Sima Luxian asked. He didn't forget the uneasiness he had before. The feeling of losing her was so strong. So now that the matter was settled, he wanted to bring her back. His father and the others said that her luck was too good, and there would be a great tribulation. Wu Lingyu also said that his luck was too good at that time, so he died early. Thinking of the premonition from before, he panicked. Sima Yue noticed that something was wrong with Sima Luxian and asked, "Father, what's wrong?" "Nothing." Sima Luxian shook his head. "I remembered that there are still things in the family. If there's nothing else, let's go back." Sima Yue looked at him suspiciously and nodded in agreement. Anyway, she didn't have anything to do. She could go back and cultivate. When her strength increased, she could use the secret method you gave her to go to the Ghost Realm. She actually thought of going to the Ghost Realm through Ghost City, but she asked Siyu before. Siyu said that there was not only a lightning tribulation in Ghost City, but also some other tribulations. If she could go there, even if she could avoid the lightning tribulation, she would probably die. And if she went to the Ghost Realm, without strength, she would be easily obliterated. So, she still worked hard to cultivate and improve her strength. It was safer to use Mou's method. Moreover, Her strength was almost reaching the requirements. As long as she cultivated for a few more years, she should be able to break through. However, before they reached home, Sima Yue received Little Roar's request for help. He said that he and Shimonli were captured and brought to the inner region. Sima Yue panicked when she heard it. But when she heard that those people didn't have the intention to kill them, she didn't rush off. Father Li and Little Roar were captured. I want to save them. Why don't you go home first? Sima Yue thought of Sima Lu Xian, saying that the family had something to do and wanted him to go back alone. Sima Lu Xian saw Shimonli at Shimonfeng's wedding and knew that she was very important to Sima Yue. She would definitely go and save them. Going home was his excuse. How could he let her go alone now? The family matters can be put aside for a while. I'll go with you. Okay. Sima family had some enemies recently. If she let him go back alone, she wouldn't be at ease. Little Roar, where are you now? Sima Yue contacted Little Roar. I don't know. I just heard them say that they are in the 20th state. Little Roar said. You come and save me. Sob sob sob, I'm so scared. 20th state. Sima Yue filtered the forces in the 20th state in her mind. She eliminated those forces that were not related to her in Paramount Valley. Then she guessed who captured Little Roar and the rest. But she couldn't think of anyone in the 20th state who had any grudges with them. How are you guys now? It seemed that she could only guess from the environment. I'm fine. Lear was poisoned and can't use spirit energy. Little Roar replied. Oh right, there are many women here other than us. Many women? Yes, they are the same as Lear. They were all drugged and locked in a courtyard. There are many experts here. They seem to be monitoring us. This book came from Chapter 1715. Sima Yue felt much more at ease after hearing this. In other words, this wasn't an operation targeted at them. They just happened to run into them. Furthermore, looking at how many women were locked up, these people should have been searching everywhere for women with certain conditions. And Lear just happened to meet their conditions, so she was captured and brought back. Little Roar, pay attention to the situation on your side. If there are any changes, contact me immediately. Let's hurry over now. She instructed Little Roar. I know. You have to come quickly. Little Roar felt wronged. He had clearly followed them out to eat, drink, and play, but now he had fallen into danger. He was really unlucky. Sima Yue did not cut off her connection with Little Roar. This way, she would be the first to know if there was any danger. Father, let's go to the 20th prefecture now. On Little Roar's side, he was lying weakly in Shimonli's embrace. How is it? Did you manage to contact sister? Shimonli asked. Although she was a little scared, she didn't panic. She still looked calm. Yes, but the inner region is huge. It will take some time for you to rush over. For this period of time, we can only be trapped here. Little Roar said. I'm sorry I've implicated you. Shimonli blamed herself. How can I blame you for this? I didn't protect you well. You asked me to follow you to protect you. Little Roar sighed as he spoke. Sigh, if it wasn't for that fellow of yours being in a deep sleep, we wouldn't have ended up like this. I didn't expect that after absorbing those things, my strength didn't increase. Instead, it caused it to fall into a deep sleep. Shimonli sighed. Do really didn't advance at the right time. That fellow's strength has increased. Later on, when he returns to you, you will advance in rank. Little Roar thought that Shimonli was troubled by the fact that her strength did not increase, so he comforted her instead. Don't worry, Little Roar, I won't let anything happen to you. Shimonli stroked his head and said with a resolute gaze. I won't let anything happen to you either. Little Roar rubbed himself against Shimonli's chest, taking the opportunity to take advantage of her. Shimonli felt her little movement, and poked its head with her finger. Let's go to other places to take a look. She carried Little Roar and left her room, trying to see the people in other rooms. There was a lady living in each room. When those people saw Shimonli, they all revealed terrified expressions. Some of the doors were not even opened, so they did not know who was living inside. These people are so cowardly. Little Roar muttered softly. He should be frightened. Shimonli said. She walked to the room at the side and saw a woman in red. That woman was sitting leisurely in front of the door, squinting her eyes as she basked in the sun. "Hello." Shimanli took the initiative to greet her. That girl opened her eyes and saw Shimanli. She did not plan to pay attention to her, but when she saw little Roar in her arms, a trace of darkness flashed past her eyes. "You've got guts." The woman sat up. "You're the first one who dares to walk out of here." Little Roar was already squinting his eyes and preparing to sleep, but when he heard this voice, his body trembled. He looked at the woman in disbelief and pointed his short leg at her, saying, You, why are you here?" That woman grabbed his short leg and pulled him over. She rubbed it twice and snorted, "Why can't I be here?" Shimanli saw her and Little Roar like that and asked, "Do you know each other?" "Yes. We know each other. This fellow even snatched my food to eat." The woman thought of their past grudges and rubbed it twice. "See you if you do this, I'll make you not cook for you in the future." Little Roar could not escape from her evil claws and could only threaten her. See you heard Little Roar's threat and stopped rubbing it. Instead, she grabbed its neck and said, "Where's that despicable fellow in your house? He hasn't contacted me for so long. Did he forget about me as a friend?" "See you? Your big sister See you?" Shimanli heard Little Roar's words and looked at See you curiously. See you looked at Shimanli and asked, "Who are you? Where is Yue?" "I'm Shimanli. I've heard big sister mention you before." Shimanli smiled and said. See you looked her up and down and said, "You're Shimanli? Why does this Yue fellow look so different?" Shimanli smiled and didn't reply. She couldn't possibly say that she looked like the previous Shiman Yue, right? "Big sister See you. How did you get caught and brought here?" she asked. "Of course I wouldn't." See you paused mid-sentence and rubbed her nose, saying, "I was too careless. That's why I was captured and brought here." It was the first time Shimanli met her, so she didn't understand her. She was obviously guilty. "Then have you been here for a long time?" Shimanli asked again. "Yes, I've been here for 2 months." Speaking of this, See you pouted and muttered softly, "It's been so long. That person really won't come and find me, right?" Thinking of this, her heart hurt a little. She threw Little Roar aside and patted Shimanli's shoulder, saying, "You don't have to be afraid. I'll keep you safe." "Thank you, big sister See you." Shimanli replied even though she didn't believe it. Sima Yu had only mentioned See you to her, but she didn't say anything else. That was why she didn't know See Yu's identity, nor did she know her strength. She didn't believe that she would be able to protect her. On the contrary, she felt that when Little Do woke up, she would bring See you out. She was big sister's friend. "You don't seem to be afraid at all?" See you saw how calm she was and said, "I've seen many women who were caught and brought here. They were all so scared. I'm scared, but I know it's useless to be scared." Shimanli said, "Why don't we observe the situation here and see if there's a chance to escape? Also, big sister said she would come and save me." "Yue will come?" See you asked in surprise. "Yeah. Then we'll wait. I haven't seen her in a long time." See Yu's smile was a little treacherous. It made Shimanli worried that she would do something when she saw Sima Yue. See you laid back on her rocking chair and saw Little Roar running back. She threatened, "You're not allowed to tell your master that I'm here. Otherwise, I'll pluck out all the fur on your body." Little Roar's short legs froze and his body froze for 2 seconds. Then he turned around and ran away. He must stay away from this woman who snatched food from him. A woman who was a foodie, strong and petty and loved to take revenge was the scariest. See you saw Little Roar's appearance and laughed loudly. The unhappiness in her heart dissipated a lot. She didn't know where Yue found this clown. She would find one later so that she could tease him when she was in a bad mood. This book came from Chapter 17-16. Due to the fact that he cherished every single strand of hair on his body, Little Roar returned to his room and pondered for a while. In the end, he decided not to tell Sima Yue about this matter. Anyway, this woman is with Yu. It doesn't matter if Yu doesn't know. But if I did, that woman would definitely pluck out all my hair. Yu was far away while this woman was close. I still had to be on guard against this woman. Even if Yu knows, she won't blame me. After it thought it through, it ran to Shimin Li's bed and lay on its back, sleeping peacefully. Shimin Li realized that Siyu was a talkative person, and was also a meticulous person. She was very familiar with the situation here, how many guards there were and how strong they were. Big sister Siyu, how do you know the strength of those people? Shimin Li asked curiously. Isn't that simple? Just sense it. Siyu said. But weren't our cultivations sealed? How did you sense it? Could it be? Shoo, you only need to know this, don't yell. Siyu covered her mouth. Don't be fooled by the fact that there's no one here. There's someone watching us in the dark. With that, she pulled Shimin Li into the room and set up a barrier. Shimin Li stuck out her tongue apologetically and said, Sorry, I was just too surprised. But Sister Siyu, are you really not poisoned? My spiritual energy is different from yours, so of course I wasn't poisoned. Siyu said. Then why have you stayed here for 2 months and not found a chance to leave? Sigh. Siyu let out a long sigh. I knew I was waiting for someone to save me, but I obviously overestimated my position. I've decided. When your sister comes to save us, I'll go with you. I'm not waiting anymore and I'm not thinking about it anymore. You don't want to? Don't think about what? Shimin Li blinked and looked at her curiously. It's nothing. Siyu waved her hand. Right, when is your sister coming? I don't know, it'll take a few days. Shimin Li said. I wonder if there will be any changes during this period of time. We haven't caught enough people yet, so there won't be any changes for now. Siyu wasn't worried at all. Big sister Siyu, do you know why those people captured us? Shimin Li asked. I don't know about that. Those people didn't mention it either. But it seems like he's waiting for someone. Siyu said, since they captured us but didn't hurt us, and all of us are so pretty, they might want to capture us to do something bad, like selling us to a brothel or selling us as human cauldrons. Maybe it's what I'm thinking. Shimin Li saw that Siyu was getting more and more excited as she talked about you and the corners of her mouth twitched. The light in Siyu's eyes wasn't fear, right? What was she so excited about? Wasn't he afraid that she would be used as a human cauldron? Most people wouldn't show such an expression in such a situation, right? Siyu realized that she had scared Shimin Li and said, Don't worry, if there's any danger, I'll definitely protect you. Who asked you to call me big sister? A few days later, those people caught a few more beautiful women and brought them in. Like them, they were poisoned and unable to use their spiritual energy. The women were all scared out of their wits. Their eyes were filled with fear. Siyu and Shimin Li were eating melon seeds in front of the door. She popped out the shell of the melon seed and said, Did you see that? This is the expression that people who just came in should have. Siyu smiled. She wasn't panicking at that time, mainly because she knew that dough ball was about to come out. Also, she had contacted Sima Yuyue, so her heart was at ease. More and more people have been caught these few days. I don't know what they want to do. Shimin Li said. Let's see. We shouldn't have to wait much longer. Siyu said. Most of them have been caught, and the mastermind is about to appear. This morning, Big Sister told Little Roar that they had already reached the 20th state. But because they didn't know where this was, they could only rely on their connection with Little Roar to find their way here. That's why they slowed down when they reached here. They're here so quickly. It seems like she really cares about you, her younger sister. Siyu said enviously. It's so good to have an older sister. If CZ and the others heard this, they would be depressed to death. She didn't have an older sister, but she had a bunch of older brothers, all right? Suddenly, she saw one of the guards and froze. She stared at him in shock. That guard felt uncomfortable being stared at by her and furrowed his brows, saying, Big brother, those two women are together. Will there be a problem? That big brother followed his gaze and said, It's fine. It's just two women. What can they do? Can they escape? That's true. We'll be able to complete our mission if we catch 10 more. The two of you, throw these women into the room. We'll go back. The guard who was being stared at by Siyu left with his big brother without turning back. Siyu ran back to her room and jumped up happily. Big sister Siyu, are you alright? Shimonli saw that she was so happy and wondered if she had gone crazy from the shock. He came to save me, he came to save me. Ha ha ha, he has me in his heart. Siyu grabbed Shimonli's arms and said happily. Do you know any of those guards? Shimonli only glanced at the guards and didn't look carefully. After that, she had her back facing the guards and didn't know who Siyu was talking about. He's here. I knew it. I've been with him for so many years, he wouldn't have no feelings for me. Siyu swept away the depression from the past few days, and was so excited that she couldn't stop. Oh, I understand. You didn't run away during this period, because you wanted to see if your sweetheart would come to save you, right? Shimonli was infected by her smile and became happy as well. It's great now. He's here. And third Mo is here. He really came. Third Mo? You're talking about third Mo? The one who has a good relationship with Big Sister? Shimonli looked at her in surprise. Was the third Mo she was talking about the third Mo she knew? That's right, it's him. He put on a disguise just now, but I still recognized him. It's him. See, he'll definitely come to find me tonight. See, you felt that today was the happiest day in years. If that's the case, he definitely knows where this is. When he comes tonight, we'll ask him. That night, a figure quickly rushed into Siyu's room, and was stunned when he saw the people in the room. Why are you guys here? Third Mo said this to Shimonli and Little Roar. Shimonli knew from his tone that this stranger who she didn't recognize in the morning was third Mo. She looked at the person whose aura had completely changed, and wondered how Siyu could recognize him. This book came from Chapter 1717. Shimonli was still puzzled when Siyu ran over excitedly and hugged third Mo, saying, Third Mo, you're here to save me, right? Third Mo frowned and reached out to pull her away, saying, You're not poisoned. Why aren't you running? Of course, Siyu wouldn't be so foolish as to say that she wanted to see if he would save her. She stuck out her tongue and said, There are so many experts, how can I win? You really can't win. Third Mo looked at her in disbelief. Of course not. Look, there are so many experts and I'm alone. Siyu tugged on his sleeve, not caring about his attitude. Third Mo clearly didn't believe her words, but he didn't say anything else. He looked at Shimonli and asked, Lear, why were you captured and brought here? Shimonli originally wanted to watch the two of them fight. Her curious little eyes darted around the two of them. Just as she was thinking if she should leave, Third Mo looked over. She hurriedly put away the curiosity on her face and replied, When Little Roar and I were traveling in the central region, we met this group of people. They didn't say anything and just captured us. How did your brother's men protect you? Third Mo's face darkened. Luckily, the people they met didn't kill her directly. Otherwise they would regret it. That. Shimonli was a little unnatural as her finger kept poking Little Roar. Third Mo immediately understood. He looked at Little Roar and said, It gave you a rotten idea to shake off those guards? Yes. Shimonli replied softly. I also feel that I won't grow up under their protection. There was no one to protect her when she traveled in the past. You. Third Mo was exasperated. Is the situation now the same as before? Now that the continent is so chaotic, with your little strength, you dare to come out alone? Do you know how many people hate your sister to the bone because of the matter with the undead? If they capture you to threaten your sister or kill you, what do you want your sister to do? Should I risk my life to save you? Or blame myself for your death for the rest of my life? Shimonli was stunned. Previously, she did think that she could grow faster if she roamed alone, but she didn't think of the latter layer. I'm sorry. It's no use apologizing to me. Be more careful in the future, okay? Third Mo was really like a big brother when he lectured her. Shimonli felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. No one had scolded her like this for so many years. Her brothers and sisters had carried the hatred on their backs, and everyone had spoiled her. That was why she had such a pure personality. Sima Yue also realized that she was too naive. That was why she allowed her to travel and broaden her horizons. Fortunately, she was innocent and did not become an arrogant and despotic young lady under everyone's love. She bit her lips. She knew that although Third Mo's words were unpleasant, he was absolutely right. I can't do this again in the future. Siyu looked at Shimin-Li, who had her head lowered, looking as if she had done something wrong. She tugged at the clothes in her hands and said, "All right, don't talk about Lear anymore. She's in the central region. How would she know about the recent changes in the inner region? Aren't you here to save her? Why are you saying so much?" Third Mo glared at her. "I need to change my plan. It's not a problem to save you, but if I have to bring her along, it'll be difficult to not alert those people. I need to change my plan." "You don't need to change your plan. Just tell me where we are. When Yue rushes over, with both of you together, are you still afraid that you won't be able to bring us out?" Siyu said. "Yue is coming?" "That's right. Little Roar contacted Yue a few days ago. She's already in the 20th state, but because she doesn't know where this is, she can only rely on her connection with Little Roar to rush over. Her speed is a little slow. If she knows the exact location, she'll be able to come over quickly." Siyu said. "Then I'll contact her." Third Mo said. "It's so troublesome for you to contact her. Just tell her the exact location, and let Little Roar tell her. It'll save time." Third Mo thought about it and agreed. The earlier she came over, the earlier Siyu and the others would be safe. Little Roar then told Sima Yue that Siyu was here as well. He also said that Third Mo came over and told her the exact location. Sima Yue then knew that they were here as well. She was even more assured of Shimin-Li's safety. If it was someone else, she wouldn't be so confident. But Siyu would definitely not be bullied. When she heard Little Roar say that Siyu had been locked up for 2 months, she found it strange. With that girl's strength and background, how could she be locked up for so long? Later on, when she heard that Third Mo was here, she instantly understood and sighed at this girl. "You didn't tell me such an important thing. I'll deal with you when I get back." Little Roar was threatened by her and shrunk his neck. He said aggrievedly, "It's not that I didn't want to tell you, but Siyu threatened me. She said that if I told you, she would pluck all my fur. Sob sob you, I'm so pitiful. Every day, I succumb to that woman's tyranny and live a dark life. Every day, I live in fear. Sob sob, quickly come and save me from this sea of fire. I'll rush over now." Sima Yue couldn't stand his clamor and cut off the connection. She said to Sima Luxian, "Father and Lei, I'm going to set up a teleportation array. You guys go back to the spirit pagoda first." Because the distance was rather far, she had to set up a delicate array. The fewer people there were, the better. Sima Luxian and Enlei didn't have any objections. But before entering the spirit pagoda, Sima Luxian reminded her that if there was anything, she must let him out. Sima Yue kept Sima Luxian in the spirit pagoda, and turned a deaf ear to his last words. Her father was not normal recently. The way he looked at her was a little crazy. Oh, it was better not to let him out. She followed Third Mo's instructions, and took out the map of the 20 states. She roughly calculated the spatial coordinates and started to set up the teleportation array. After reaching the inner region, she rarely set up teleportation arrays. Because the inner region was too big, long-distance teleportation arrays used up too much resources. Even so, she changed teleportation arrays twice and spent a few days before she reached the place that Third Mo mentioned. When she reached here, her connection with Little Roar became stronger. Little Roar was in Shimin-Li's arms gnawing on a spirit fruit. Shimin-Li and Siyu were sunbathing and chatting. Suddenly, he threw the core of the fruit away and jumped on Shimin-Li. He said, Yu is here, Yu is here." "She's here?" "No, but I can feel that she's nearby. She should be able to find us soon." Little Roar said happily. After being suppressed in this place for almost a month, he was about to become moldy. Siyu suddenly grabbed him and said, "Be quiet, someone's here. There's a new aura. It seems like the person behind this has appeared." This book came from Chapter 17-18. Hearing that the mastermind was here, Shimin-Li was a little nervous. This meant that there were enough people, and these people were going to take the next step. He didn't know if there would be any changes. "Don't worry, nothing will happen." Siyu comforted. "Yes." Shimin-Li tried her best to calm herself down, but when she saw who it was, her body trembled uncontrollably. Her eyes were filled with hatred and anger. Siyu saw that she seemed to have changed into a different person all of a sudden, and looked curiously at the entrance of the courtyard. Other than those men, there was only a woman in white that he had never seen before. "Do you know the woman in mourning?" she asked. Shimonli clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. "Yes. I would recognize her even if she turned into ashes." "Oh, look at you. You must have a deep grudge against her." Siyu turned into a curious baby. "Come tell me, what grudge do you have with her? Look at her fake pure and holy appearance. Did she steal your sweetheart?" Shimonli glanced at her and said, "She wiped out my entire clan." Siyu's brain short-circuited for a second before she regained her senses and said, "Really? This was a deeper hatred than stealing someone's sweetheart. How did she wipe out your entire family? Do you want me to avenge you?" Shimonli turned around and returned to the house before Zongjing Mingyue noticed her. Now that Do Ball wasn't awake and her poison wasn't cured, she couldn't confront Zongjing Mingyue directly. Zongjing Mingyue felt a hateful gaze. She turned around and saw an unfamiliar Siyu and a back view. Looking at his back, a trace of doubt flashed across her eyes. "Let's check the goods." Zongjing Mingyue took a look at some women and found that they were all pretty good. "Saintess, these women were chosen according to your request." The man at the side said, "A total of 888 people." Zongjing Mingyue nodded. "You did well this time. The higher-ups will definitely reward you." With that, she took out a jade bottle and threw it to him. The man opened the jade bottle and looked at the things inside. He put it away with satisfaction and then asked, "Holy Maiden, are you going to send it to the same place as last time?" "Yes." Zongjing Mingyue nodded. "It's not the first time. I don't need to repeat the precautions, right?" "No need, no need. This subordinate remembers it." The man said eagerly. "That's good. If you make even the slightest mistake, you'll lose your lives." Zongjing Mingyue returned to the courtyard and prepared to leave. Thinking of the back view she saw previously, she changed her path and walked toward Shimonli's room. Although Shimonli returned to her room, she had been paying attention to the situation outside. Seeing that Zongjing Mingyue was about to leave, she didn't even have time to heave a sigh of relief when she heard footsteps getting closer and closer. Her heart beat faster and faster along with the footsteps. The door opened and she turned around in shock. Zongjing Mingyue saw her and smiled proudly. "It's really you, Shimonli." After being discovered by her, Shimonli's nervous heart calmed down. Zongjing Mingyue. "Holy Maiden, do you know her?" The man followed her and asked cautiously. Could it be that he had captured the saintess's friend? "Please don't be like this." Zongjing Mingyue smiled and said, "I know her. Shimon clan's young miss, my best friend's little sister. How could I not know her?" The man thought to himself, "Oh no, could it be? Zongjing Mingyue, you killed my entire family. You don't deserve to be my sister's friend. We won't rest until one of us is dead." Shimonli knew that the conflict between them was irreconcilable and didn't intend to compromise. "That's right. Your sister and brother brought people to exterminate my Zongjing clan. We won't rest until one of us is dead. However, the outcome will only be your death." The man secretly heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. It's good that they weren't friends. It's good that they weren't friends. "Then, Holy Maiden, how do we deal with this woman? Do we still have to send her over?" "Send? Of course, we have to send her over. But let me lure Sima Yue over first. Doesn't she care about her family the most? I will kill everyone she cares about one by one in front of her. I want her to fall into that despair again." Zongjing Mingyue sneered. "You want to fight with my sister? You're not worthy. You can only live under my sister for the rest of your life. You'll live in her shadow for the rest of your life. Don't ever think of surpassing her." Slap. Zongjing Mingyue slapped Shimonli's face. Her face instantly turned red and swollen. The corner of her mouth split open and blood flowed out. Li Siyu, who was outside the door, ran in and helped Shimonli up. She didn't expect Zongjing Mingyue to suddenly make a move. Because she didn't use spiritual energy, when she reacted, Shimonli had already been slapped. "How are you? Are you alright?" she said apologetically. She even said she would protect her. Now she got slapped. "Sister Siyu, I'm fine. Shimin wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. She looked at Zongjing Mingyue and continued. What's the use of hitting me? Do you think that by hitting me, you can change this fact? No matter if it's in the past or now, no matter if it's strength or luck, you can't compare to my sister. Zongjing Mingyue was agitated by her words. She reached out to slap her again, but her hand was stopped in midair. You dare to bully Li, or even though I'm here. Do you think I'm dead? Siyu grabbed her arm and didn't let her get close to Shimin Li. Zongjing Mingyue immediately felt that something was wrong with Siyu. She used her other hand to condense spiritual energy to attack. Siyu casually blocked it and released her right hand at the same time. A slap landed on Zongjing Mingyue's face. She used spiritual energy in this slap and sent Zongjing Mingyue flying. Zongjing Mingyue adjusted her body before she landed, so that she didn't fall flat on her back. You're so thick-skinned. My hand hurts from the slap. Siyu blew on her palm as if it really hurt from the slap. Zongjing Mingyue looked at Siyu and said, Your spiritual energy isn't sealed. TSK, you want to seal sister's spiritual energy with that kind of poison of yours? Siyu said in disdain. Zongjing Mingyue glared at the man. Someone didn't even know that her spiritual energy wasn't sealed. How did they do their job? Saintess, please calm down. This person didn't use her spiritual energy after coming in. We didn't know that she wasn't sealed. The man explained. She wasn't sealed but stayed here for so long. Who are you? What's your motive? Although Zongjing Mingyue was angry, she didn't take her seriously. She was just a person whose spiritual energy wasn't sealed. There were so many guards here. What could she do? Capture her. She waved her hand and the man attacked her. In the end, he was sent flying by Siyu's slap. The commotion here immediately attracted the attention of those outside. Those guards immediately ran over and surrounded Siyu and Shimin Li, who walked out. This book came from Chapter 1719. Zongjing Mingyue also came out of the house and ordered the guards in the courtyard. Capture them all, as long as they are still breathing. She said this because she didn't care if they were injured or crippled. Siyu stuffed Little Roar into Shimin Li's arms. Can you ensure her safety? Little Roar nodded his head. His barrier could hold on for a period of time, but not for too long. Go. The man who was sent flying by Siyu's slap waved his hand, and the guards all attacked. Siyu took out a long black whip and wrapped it around a person's neck. With a forceful pull, that person's head was separated from his body. Little Roar covered his eyes and roared. Woman, can you not be so cruel? Who cares if it's cruel or not? Siyu's whip kept flying, one whip after another, causing those guards to be sent flying before they could even complete their spirit techniques. Shimin Li also felt that Siyu was a little cruel, but thinking about the current situation, she still chose to shut up and covered Little Roar's mouth. Dark spiritual force, you're a dark soul master. The guard cried out in alarm. No wonder her fighting strength was so fierce. You guys go. The guard called for a few more men to go up. These men were much stronger than Siyu, and with a few of them against one person, she gradually found it strenuous. Where did Third Mo go? She muttered in her heart. If this continued, she wouldn't be able to deal with him. Just as she was about to call for reinforcements, a guard finally ran in from outside. When he saw Siyu being surrounded, especially when he saw that she had been hit by spirit energy, his heart tightened. He quickly ran to her side and condensed his spirit energy to attack those people. How are you? He stood beside her, blocking all the attacks. Why are you only here now? If you were any later, you would only be able to see my corpse. Siyu pouted. I'm going to get the antidote. Third Mo threw the antidote to Shimin Li, ignoring her grievance, and started fighting with those people again. Siyu knew that now wasn't the time to throw a tantrum, so she got up from the ground and joined the battle. Now that Third Mo was here, she couldn't call her men over. Otherwise, Third Mo would definitely fall out with her. Shimin Li swallowed the antidote, and could feel the sluggish spiritual power in her body slowly regaining control. Her body also felt much more comfortable. When her spiritual power recovered, she joined the battle. However, she was still young and did not have Sima Yoyue's experience. Even with the reverse nurturing of little doe, she could not compete with the strength of these people who were older. It was a good thing that she had Little Roar on her. Little Roar had an unparalleled innate talent for enchantments. He used enchantments to block a lot of attacks for her, preventing her from suffering too many injuries. Zongjing Mingyue had been watching from the side since the start of the battle. When he saw that Shimin Li's spirit power was almost depleted, he retracted the protective layer and attacked Shimin Li. Wah, you woman, it's fine if you're ugly, but your character is so bad. You're so scheming, you actually launched a sneak attack. Little Roar felt the danger and reinforced the barrier in time, allowing Shimin Li to escape the fate of being heavily injured. She turned around and confronted Zongjing Mingyue. Little Roar, you're wrong. Sneak attacks are not her style. Other than sneak attacks, she can't do anything else. Shimin Li said to Little Roar. Her words were full of sarcasm. You're the same as your sister. You only know how to talk. When I catch you, you'll understand. This is completely useless. After Zongjing Mingyue finished speaking, her hands quickly formed a seal. Spiritual power quickly gathered in between her hands. Shimin Li could feel the terror of that spiritual power. I didn't think that in just a few decades, her strength would actually increase so much. She was shocked and kept calling Little Doe. If it didn't attack, she would probably die here today. Little Roar was anxious and urged. Li, hurry and wake that guy up. I don't think I can take it anymore. Shimin Li was anxious too, but that guy was unreliable. He wouldn't wake up until the last moment of his life. What to do? What to do? Third Mo and Cu also saw the situation here, but they were trapped and couldn't escape. Everyone's thoughts turned, but only a few breaths of time had passed. No matter if Cu had any other trump cards, she wouldn't be able to complete it in such a short period of time. When he saw the white light that Zongjing Mingyue sent over, Little Roar thought that he was done for. If he didn't die today, he wouldn't be able to keep his beautiful fur. Thinking that it was going to be disfigured, it covered its eyes as if it was trying to deceive itself. In a daze, he seemed to hear you use familiar scolding voice. So embarrassing. He opened his eyes. He was still in his own spirit barrier. His spirit barrier wasn't broken, and he and Shimin Li weren't injured. And in front of them stood the figure that they had been yearning for day and night. You're finally here. He excitedly flew to Sima Yue. He was so emotional that tears and snot were all over his face. So embarrassing. Sima Yue picked him up in disdain. Why don't you do that action again? Woo, this baby is scared. Little Roar didn't care how much Sima Yue disliked him. He waved his little limbs in the air. It was the same familiar action, the same familiar feeling. Zongjing Mingyue didn't think that Sima Yue would appear at this time. Although this was the first time they met, they weren't strangers. Ever since the Zongjing clan was destroyed, Sima Yue's appearance was deeply imprinted in her mind. I haven't gone to find you, but you're here. Zongjing Mingyue spoke as if it was many years ago. I didn't think that we would meet again under such circumstances. Sima Yue threw Little Roar into Shimin Li's arms and confronted Zongjing Mingyue. As for the others, when Sima Yue arrived, they all stopped. Third Mo and Cu returned to her side at the same time. I didn't think that you would actually survive. Zongjing Mingyue said. The soul refining lamp is useless to you. You're really blessed by the heavens. I always felt that things weren't perfect. Even though the Zongjing clan and Huayang Palace were destroyed, there was still you. Sima Yue said. Today is the time for us to settle our differences. I let you escape last time, but I don't believe that you can be reborn again this time. Today it's time to end everything. Sima Yue opened up her little realm and let the Sima family's guards come out to deal with the others. She then fought with Zongjing Mingyue. Zongjing Mingyue quickly used her spirit technique. It was a huge white bird. It was different from the usual birds formed by spirit energy. This bird looked more real and holy, making people want to worship it. You're really good at acting. Sima Yue snorted. She didn't use any spirit energy. Instead, she jumped up and went up personally, punching the huge bird. Holy big bird, let's see how you're going to act. Chapter 1720. Sima Yue had used up all of her strength in this punch. Everyone could feel that her fist was filled with boundless power, as if it could destroy the heavens and earth. When the fist collided with the white bird formed by spiritual energy, there was no sound, but everyone saw the white bird crack and dissipate. How is this possible? I've added the power of faith to it, so how could you possibly defeat me? Zhong Zhenghanyu thought that this was her ultimate move that could definitely deal with Sima Yue, but she didn't expect that it couldn't even withstand one move. Do you think you're the only one with the power of faith? Sima Yue blew on her fist. Although I don't know what method you used to improve your strength so quickly, your power of faith was cultivated using a secret method. It's not pure power of faith. Compared to mine, you're far inferior. How is that possible? How can you have the power of faith? Zhong Zhenghanyu couldn't believe it. Her expression turned sinister. Why not? Isn't it just this? Sima Yue released her power of faith, and for a moment, she became holy. Zhong Zhenghanyu was stunned and kept muttering that it was impossible. Sima Yue's power of faith was so pure and holy. Compared to her, his power of faith was like the difference between the real thing and the fake. Sima Yue smiled when she saw Zhong Zhenghanyu's defeated look. She had liked to compare herself with her since she was young. One of the reasons why she had hurt her was because she was inferior to her in every aspect and was jealous of her. Now she was going to crush her pride bit by bit. First, she was going to defeat her mentally so that she would forever be beneath her. Yue, don't kill her for now, Third Mo suddenly said. Although Sima Yue did not know why Third Mo was pleading with her, she still nodded because she trusted him. Zhong Zhenghanyu was indeed the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. Her will was much firmer than others. Although this was a huge blow to her, she quickly regained her senses. We still don't know who will win or lose. She shouted loudly and condensed her fire attribute spirit energy, turning it into a large red bird. Sima Yue chuckled lightly and directly condensed a large flaming sword, splitting her large bird into two. Zhong Zhenghanyu saw that her spirit technique was so easily broken by Sima Yue. So she congealed water attribute spirit energy, and a water pillar fell from the sky towards Sima Yue's flaming blade. However, Sima Yue took the initiative to disperse the flaming blade, and congealed a water whip to wrap around Zhong Zhenghanyu's waist. Just when Zhong Zhenghanyu was surprised that Sima Yue had these attributes, she saw Sima Yue suddenly smile. Seeing that smile, she panicked. Based on her understanding of Sima Yue, every time she smiled like that, it meant that she was going to win. Sure enough, she held the water whip in one hand and condensed lightning attribute spiritual energy in the other. Then there was no then. When Zhong Zhenghanyu fell to the ground, she still didn't understand why she was defeated so easily. Where was the huge battle she had envisioned? Where was the countless times she had envisioned torturing Sima Yue? How did the ending turn out like this? In front of her, she didn't even have the strength to fight back. Clearly she still had so many spirit techniques that she hadn't used. Clearly she still had so many tricks up her sleeves. How could she be defeated so easily? Sima Yue landed beside her and saw her staring at her innocent-looking eyes. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. You're not satisfied, right? Zhong Zhenghanyu moved her eyes with difficulty, trying to see her face clearly. Actually, there's nothing to be unhappy about. You thought you could defeat me last time, so you can do it again this time? Sima Yue guessed her thoughts. Last time, I was killed because you used my trust in you and took advantage of the loophole. But it's different this time. You don't have my trust and you don't understand me. But I know your attributes, I know your strength, I know what you've learned. I know what you've done on a particular day, and I know when you're in closed-door cultivation. Zhong Zhenghanyu's eyes widened. She thought it was impossible, but Sima Yue didn't look like that at all. She was very sure that she really knew. You think it's impossible? Sima Yue squatted down. You chose to be above others, so you should know that your actions are no longer a secret. As long as I have the heart, what can't I do? I just need to find a few people to bribe them, and they'll know everything about you. How? You think that I'll end my revenge after destroying the Zhongzheng clan? I haven't killed you yet. How can I let my guard down? Know your enemy. I know how to do that too. At this time, Third Mo and Siyu walked over. Sima Yue stood up and asked, "Shameless third, why do you want to keep her? You know what I'm thinking. We found something wrong recently, so we kept her. Maybe we can find something." Third Emo said. "What's the matter?" Sima Yue asked. "Black-robed men." Sima Yue took a deep breath. "You suspect that it's related to the Sage Pavilion?" "I didn't think of it before, but it shouldn't be a coincidence that these girls were captured here. The black-robed men appeared nearby recently, and this girl is involved in this matter. I'm just guessing, I don't have any evidence." Third Emo said. Sima Yue was silent for a while. "If that's the case, we really can't kill her. Since she's the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion, and she's behind the kidnapping of girls, she might know something. I'll see if I can find anything useful." Zhong Zhenghanyu was heavily injured and was attacked by Sima Yue, so she was mentally weak. Sima Yue quickly found a lot of useful information from her Sea of Consciousness. "How is it?" Siyu asked. Sima Yue sighed and said unwillingly, "Seems like we can't kill her for now." "Is the black-robed men's matter caused by the Sage Pavilion?" "I'm not sure if she knows, but she knows that the black-robed men are related to the Sage Pavilion. These girls were prepared for the black-robed men." Sima Yue continued, "But she didn't contact them directly. You want to keep her, do you have a plan?" Third Emo asked. "You know me best." Sima Yue took out a pill and stuffed it into Zhong Zhenghanyu's mouth to save her life, then continued. "She came this time to talk to the black-robed men. As long as we pretend to be her, we can meet the black-robed men. We might be able to find out something then. If she died, her life jade would shatter, and the people of the Sage Pavilion would know. Then this plan won't work. Then we'll let her live for 2 more days." Shimonli was unwilling. "What about those girls?" Siyu pointed at the group of girls who came out of the room to watch the show. Chapter 17:21. When the women saw Sima Yue and the others, they huddled together in fear. Sima Yue glanced at them with a headache. If she let these people go now, the news would spread. At that time, there would be a change in her plan. However, it wouldn't be good to lock them up here. "What a headache. Sister, they're all poisoned," Shimonli said. "We can use this as an excuse to let them stay here for a while. We need to give them the antidote so they can't leave for the time being." "That's a good idea," Sima Yue said. "Let's set up another barrier here so that we can't leave before the poison is removed. When I'm done, I can give them the antidote. By the way, the antidote shouldn't be too difficult, right?" Shimonli took out the jade bottle and passed it to her. "This is the antidote jade bottle that third brother gave me." Sima Yue took it and sniffed it. Although the antidote was gone, the smell was still there. "The antidote is not difficult. I sort of guessed it. I'll check on them later, and we'll be able to determine the composition of the antidote," she said confidently. "Now you can go over and have a look with them." "You're not going?" Siyu asked. "I want to deal with this person." Sima Yue picked up the person on the ground and brought her to a random room. After setting up a barrier, she brought Zhong Zhenghanyu into the spirit pagoda. When she came out again, she would be alone. As for Zhong Zhenghanyu, before she needed her identity, she would stay properly in the spirit pagoda. As for how the beasts inside would treat her, that was their business. However, based on their love and care for Sima Yue, one could imagine Zhong Zhenghanyu's days. Sima Yue left the room. Shimonli had already finished talking to those girls. "Thank you for saving us." The girls stepped forward and looked at her with gratitude and adoration. "You're welcome. Let me check your body. I want to confirm the poison in your body so that I can develop the antidote," Sima Yue said with a smile. "Let me do it," said the woman who had spoken earlier. "Then come with me." Sima Yue returned to the house and asked the woman to sit on the chair and stretch out her hand. She sat beside her and checked her pulse. After about a minute, she took her hand back. "This poison is a little troublesome. It might take a few days. Just wait here for a few days. Once the antidote is developed, I'll have someone send it over immediately." "Are you leaving?" the woman asked. "We have other things to do, but it won't affect the detoxification. But don't worry, We'll leave 2 people to take care of you. We'll also create a barrier for you, so that others won't be able to enter. Once you recover your spiritual energy, you can leave. Thank you. The woman thanked him again and left. Siyu came in from outside and leaned against the door asking, "Who do you want to keep?" "Lear is too young. Those things are not suitable for her," Sima Yue said. "Besides, she has been locked up here before, so they will trust her more easily." "Will she agree?" "I will. I'm the older sister." Sima Yue changed the topic after saying this. She looked at Third Mo and asked, "Why are you still in the human realm? You didn't go back after leaving last time?" Siyu smiled and didn't answer. "You've been by his side all these years?" Sima Yue was shocked. She felt that it was unbelievable. "At first, he didn't let me follow him. But you know that I won't change my mind once I've decided on something. Even if he ignores me or chases me away, he can't do anything to me even if I don't leave," Siyu said proudly. "That's a good point." Sima Yue looked at her meaningfully. Although she didn't completely get Third Mo, from the fact that he came to save her, she was at least someone important to him. This was a huge improvement. "I know that there's someone in his heart, but I don't care. I don't ask him to forget that person. I just want to live in his heart. Looking at it now, the results are not bad. I'm very satisfied. I believe that I'll be able to get him in the end." Siyu's eyes shone with hope and happiness. "Good luck." Sima Yue waved her fist at her. She and Third Mo had known each other for so many years and knew that there was someone in his heart. Moreover, it wasn't a beautiful memory. Third Mo's personality was weird and stubborn. If she wanted to conquer him completely, it would depend on Siyu's ability. "When are you leaving? Do you want me to go with you?" Siyu didn't want to talk too much about Third Mo, so she asked. Sima Yue shook her head. "The people there are very cautious. Other than the people they contacted, they won't meet anyone. If you guys go with me, you'll alert them. I'll go alone." "Then when are you leaving?" "At night, not far from the agreed location. Weren't you guys investigating the black-robed men? You guys go and check on them. We'll exchange information then," Sima Yue said. "Okay. Be careful." Siyu wasn't worried about her. Instead of worrying about this fellow, why not find something else to do? That wouldn't waste time. That afternoon, Sima Yue went to the spirit pagoda to refine the antidote and gave it to Shimin Li. She told her to give it to those people after 10 days. 10 days later was the time to hand it over. If there wasn't anyone by then, those black-robed men would find out. And the time she was going to meet those people was before that. But when she disguised herself as Zhongzheng Hanyu and arrived at the agreed location, those black-robed men didn't come. After waiting for 2 days, she had no choice but to return to the courtyard. "Sister?" Shimin Li was surprised to see Sima Yue back. "How's the matter?" Sima Yue shook her head. "Give them the antidote and let them leave." Soon Siyu and Third Mo received the news and came back. "What happened?" "Something happened over there. The black-robed men didn't come," Sima Yue said. "How did this happen? Did they know what happened here?" Third Mo and Siyu were surprised. Zhongzheng Hanyu went to meet those people because she had something to tell them. But they didn't see anyone now. This was strange. "I don't know about this. Zhongzheng Hanyu didn't receive any news at all. So I planned to go to the Sage Pavilion to take a look." Sima Yue told her plan. "You want to go to the Sage Pavilion?" After Shimin Li sent all the girls away, she heard this and disagreed. "Sister, do you know that because of one sentence from the Sage Pavilion, you had no choice but to disguise as a man for the past few decades? If you go to the Sage Pavilion now, aren't you sending yourself to the tiger's den?" Chapter 1722. A lamb walking into a tiger's den? What's going on? Siyu didn't know why Sima Yue wanted to dress up as a man. She used to think that she liked it. Actually, it's nothing. Sima Yue didn't care. "I went in as Zhongzheng Hanyu this time. How could they find out my identity so easily?" She had Zhongzheng Hanyu's appearance, her aura, and her memories. It wasn't easy for ordinary people to find out that something was wrong with her. But Shimonli was still worried. In her heart, the Sage Pavilion was a very terrifying power. She had come out to travel this time, and knew the power of a few powers. She had an instinctive fear towards the Sage Pavilion. You guys still haven't told me what's going on. Siyu was confused by them. Sima Yue explained the reason why she had disguised herself as a man. It was because the Sage Pavilion had announced that any female spirit master would be killed without mercy. If she went to the Sage Pavilion and the Sage Pavilion found out that she was a complete spirit master, no one knew what kind of situation she would face. Shimonli thought that Siyu would persuade Sima Yue after knowing the reason, but she didn't expect Siyu to not be worried at all. Instead, she persuaded her. What's there to worry about? With your sister's ability, even if she was discovered, they would still be the ones to suffer. If your sister doesn't turn them upside down, they'll be thanking the heavens and earth. Shimonli looked at Siyu speechlessly. She shouldn't have told her. In the end, she couldn't stop Sima Yue even though she knew that she couldn't. Not only that, but Sima Yue also asked Third Mo and the rest to send her back to Paramount Valley, ending her training early. The reason was that she was disobedient and threw off her guards. As for whether she still needed to come out to gain experience, that would depend on whether she could pass Shimonfeng's test. Shimonli was very unwilling, but she didn't dare to refute Sima Yue because she was indeed in the wrong. Moreover, she didn't have the guts to suggest that she go back. Only when she came to the inner region did she realize how weak she was. She wasn't even worth mentioning. It was a coincidence that Third Mo and the rest were investigating the men in black. With Sima Yue's request, they agreed to bring Shimonli back to Paramount Valley. Before leaving, Siyu patted Sima Yue's shoulder and said, "Well, I know you probably won't need it, but if you need it, just contact me. You know that I have a secret technique. I can come here very quickly. If there's a need, I won't hesitate to ask for your help," Sima Yue replied with a smile. Siyu saw her smile and suddenly felt weird, but she couldn't blame her, so she suppressed that feeling and left with Shimonli. Sima Yue smiled when she saw Siyu's expression before she left. His gaze was so reluctant, as if something was really going to happen to him. There's a price to pay for what you gain, but sometimes death isn't the end, it's the beginning. Lin's words suddenly rang in her mind again, and the smile on her face slowly disappeared. Was her calamity about to come? She still believed in Lin's words, so she knew that she was going to face a calamity. The dark and light attributes were getting harder and harder to balance, and the power of faith was getting harder and harder to suppress. She could feel that her body was reaching its limit. Perhaps, not long later, she would really face a calamity. No wonder she felt so flustered recently. Mother hasn't been rescued yet. I don't want to face a calamity so early. She touched her chest. She couldn't die. If she died, her soul wouldn't have any memories in the ghost realm. She wouldn't remember her family and friends, and she wouldn't remember that she was going to save her mother. So many years of cultivation would be wasted. So she had to go to the ghost realm alive. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened her eyes again, she had calmed down. She decided that once she found out about the Sage Pavilion, she would go into seclusion to cultivate. Because she was disguised as Zhongzheng Hanyu, she couldn't call out her spirit beasts, so she could only rush to the Sage Pavilion's branch. The Sage Pavilion's flashy palace was built in the outskirts of the city. Sima Yue saw the palace and curled her lips. The Sage Pavilion's palace was so luxurious. Who knew how much of the people's wealth was taken from them? The two guards at the door saw Sima Yue and quickly bowed. "Greetings to Holy Daughter." Sima Yue looked at Zhongzheng Hanyu and nodded coldly. "Where's your palace master?" "He's meeting a guest in the main hall." The guard replied. "What guest?" "He actually wants her to meet him personally." "Didn't he know that I was coming?" Sima Yue said with a sullen face. "Holy Daughter, please calm down." A hearty laugh came from inside. A lady wearing the Sage Pavilion's palace master uniform came out and smiled at Sima Yue. "Of course I know that Holy Daughter is coming. I was delayed by something just now. I hope Holy Daughter won't take offense." "Is Palace Master Gu meeting an important guest?" Sima Yue's face didn't look good. "As if she wouldn't give up if you didn't explain yourself." It's the clan master of an aristocratic family. He didn't know that Holy Daughter would come at this time, and came to report the situation to me, Gu Qing said. The clan master of an aristocratic family had a lot of weight. Sima Yue's expression softened. I wonder if you're done talking? I have something to talk to you about, Sima Yue said. Is it about the Sacred City Assembly? Gu Qing asked. Sacred City Assembly? Why, Holy Daughter doesn't know. I came out to settle some matters, and haven't contacted the sect for a while, Sima Yue said. Why is the Sacred City Assembly suddenly called? Holy Daughter, please come in, we're on our way. Sima Yue walked in front, thinking about what the Sage Pavilion was up to. This sacred city was different from the one in the Yilin continent. This sacred city was the Sage Pavilion's old nest, and they thought that they were very holy, so they named it Sacred City. Zhongzheng Hanyu didn't hear about the Sacred City Assembly before she left. Why did she suddenly want to call for it now? After Gu Qing told her about the Sacred City Assembly, her expression didn't change, but her heart was in turmoil, because the Sacred City Assembly wasn't called to deal with the current chaotic situation, but to unite the various powers to deal with the ancient spirit beasts that were rising rapidly in recent years. They were preparing to send invitations to thousands of clans, covering all the first-class powers in the inner regions. If they succeeded, the ancient spirit beasts would face an unprecedented situation. She didn't know if Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior had received the news, but she had to think of a way to inform him, or else she would be caught off guard. Chapter 17:23. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, I didn't expect such a big thing to happen when I came out to settle things. We all know that the Saintess is dealing with confidential matters, and rarely communicates with the outside world. The delay in news is only temporary. Zhongzheng Hanyu's current position in the Sage Pavilion was very special, so even if she was the pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion, Gu Qing was very polite to her. Recently, those ancient spirit beasts have indeed been very rampant. They have killed many humans and snatched many resources. If we can get rid of them, it would be a great blessing for the human race, Sima Yue said. However, if those ancient spiritual beasts get the news, they won't let things continue, right? If the ancient spiritual beasts find out that we want to join forces with other forces to deal with them, I'm afraid they will come out to stop us, Sima Yue said. So we have to find a reasonable reason to cover it up, Gu Qing said. There's more than one big thing now, right? Sima Yue pondered for a moment. There were only 2 or 3 things that could be done to gather all the forces together, without alerting the ancient spiritual beasts. Could it be the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword? She guessed. Lord Holy Maiden is truly worthy of being the Pavilion Master's favorite person right now. It's the Devil Sword murdering heaven, Gu Qing said. These few years, the Devil Sword murdering heaven has appeared from time to time, causing many massacres. Furthermore, it has become more and more demonic over the years, and has become an important factor that threatens the safety of mankind. With this as an excuse, even if the ancient spirit beasts discover our actions, they will think that we are discussing the matter of the Devil Sword. Not bad, Sima Yue praised. These are all good ideas that Lord Holy Sun came up with. When Gu Qing mentioned Lord Holy Sun, she had a proud look on her face. All right, let's get down to business. Sima Yue looked at the people in the room and signaled Gu Qing to let them out. Gu Qing understood tacitly and said to the others in the room, You can all go down, you don't need to serve me for the time being. Yes, Pavilion Master. When all the servant girls left, Sima Yue said, Do you know about the fox hunting plan? I've heard of this name before, but I've never come into contact with it. Is this related to the purpose of this visit? Gu Qing asked. Yes. Sima Yue nodded. I shouldn't have told you this, but the situation is urgent, so I can only ask you to do it. Saintess, what exactly is this fox hunting plan? Gu Qing asked when she saw Sima Yue's serious expression. Well, Sima Yue hesitated. She was not willing to tell her. Saintess, if you don't tell me, I won't be able to give orders to my subordinates. If you make a mistake, it's fine for us, but how are you going to explain it to the sect? If you're afraid that your subordinates will find out, you can rest assured. I'll only instruct my subordinates to do the job and won't tell them the reason. Gu Qing had always been curious about the fox hunting plan, but since she was not involved, she had no way of knowing the inside story. She only knew that it was a big deal. Now that she finally had the chance, how could she let it go? If she handled it well, she might even be rewarded by the sect. Sima Yu furrowed her brows and hesitated for a moment. Then, as if she had made up her mind, she sighed and said, "You're right, this matter. It's just that once you know about it, you must not tell anyone, understand?" "Saintess, don't worry. I won't tell anyone. If you're worried, I can make an oath." Gu Qing was very sincere. "There's no need to make an oath." Sima Yu stopped her. "One of the reasons why I was hesitating was because I was afraid that you would be involved in this matter. Saintess, please tell me." "Actually, this fox hunting plan is to select women from all over the mainland and bring them here to be given to others," Sima Yu said vaguely. Gu Qing's heart was in suspense. "Those women aren't willing, right?" Gu Qing asked. "Who would be willing to be a human cauldron? That's why this plan is carried out secretly," Sima Yu said calmly. She didn't care about the outcome of those women at all. Gu Qing was a little surprised. She didn't expect the fox hunting plan to be like this. It seemed like it wasn't a good thing. "Who were those women sent to?" she asked. "I don't know, but according to what I know, they should have been given to those black-robed men," Sima Yu said. "What?" Gu Qing exclaimed. "How could this be with the black-robed men?" She saw that Sima Yu didn't look like she was joking. She swallowed her words. In the sect, nothing was impossible. Sima Yu waited for her to digest the news before continuing. "We've sent many people over a few years ago. Originally, we should send them over now, but something happened." "What happened?" "They're gone. They're gone." "Yeah, those selected women were all rescued by someone," Sima Yu said. "Now no one is going to deliver the goods. The people who were supposed to meet didn't come to see me either. I don't know what's going on now. Since they're gone, we'll catch more to replace them," Gu Qing said. "No way. Those women were selected after a careful selection process. Ordinary women don't even meet the requirements," Sima Yu said. "What does the Saintess want us to do? Are we going to capture those people?" Gu Qing asked. "I had some matters to attend to and was delayed on my way here. When I got there, it was already empty. I don't know how long ago it was. If we catch them now, we don't know who they are. Then what should we do? We can only leave it at that for now. I'll go back and report to the pavilion master and see what to say." Sima Yu said. "What you need to do now is to find out who's behind this. Once you find them, kill them without mercy. I don't know if those people who were rescued know the inside story, so you definitely can't let them spread the news. Do you understand?" "I understand," Gu Qing replied. At the same time, she heaved a sigh of relief. If it was just to kill those people, it would be much easier. Furthermore, she wouldn't have to take responsibility for this matter. Sima Yu then told her where those women were kept. Then she said, "This matter must be carried out secretly. If others know that the fox hunting plan is related to the Sage Pavilion or the black-robed men, then the consequences." "I understand. I'll be careful," Gu Qing promised. "I believe in Pavilion Master Gu's ability," Sima Yu said. "I still have to return to the sect and personally report this matter to the sect master. I won't delay any longer." Gu Qing brought her to the teleportation array. Only those with status in the Sage Pavilion could use it. Sima Yu used the teleportation array to go directly to the sacred city. Chapter 1724. Sacred City. The entire city was built like a palace, and it was a white palace. Sima Yu's first impression was that it was pretentious. Zhong Zhenghanyu's appearance was very useful here. Those who saw her had to bow to her. All she had to do was smile and nod at them. "Saintess, you finally returned." A maid ran over. Sima Yu recognized that this was one of her personal maidservants, Gu Shi. She had left Gu Shi behind in Sacred City when Sima Yue went on a secret mission. What's the matter? She imitated Zhong Zhenghanyu's tone and spoke coldly. This servant tried to contact you before, but I couldn't. I thought something had happened to you. Gu Shi said worriedly. Sima Yue paused and glanced at her. You know that I'm on a secret mission, so it's not convenient for me to contact you. What's there to be surprised about? This servant knows her mistake. Gu Shi lowered her head and said. Yes. Let's talk when we get back, Sima Yue said and turned to leave. Oh, isn't this our new saintess? Why are you in such a hurry to come back? Do you miss our pavilion master? A strange voice came from the side. Sima Yue turned around and saw a woman in a white dress with peach blossoms embroidered on the hem. She was surrounded by a group of people. She searched through Zhong Zhenghanyu's memories and quickly found out about this person's identity and the conflict between her and Zhong Zhenghanyu. Tao Shui, one of the girls who competed for saintess with Zhong Zhenghanyu last time. She had a high chance of winning, so much so that she called herself a saintess. Who would have thought that the final saintess would be Zhong Zhenghanyu? Although he was kept in the general pavilion in the end, he had always been against Zhong Zhenghanyu. Moreover, she always thought that Zhong Zhenghanyu could become the saintess because she had an ambiguous relationship with the pavilion master, so she always looked for opportunities to run on Zhong Zhenghanyu. If it was Zhong Zhenghanyu herself, she might have argued with Tao Shui. But at this time, Sima Yue was a fake. She had no interest in the intrigue between these women, so she just glanced at Tao Shui. She didn't even say a word before she turned and left. Did this woman have a sex change today? He actually left without saying a word. Tao Shui looked at Sima Yue's back view in astonishment. She had prepared a long conversation with her. Now she felt like she had punched cotton, which made her feel very uncomfortable. Young miss, why lower yourself to the same level as this kind of person? The maidservant on the side said. Wait until her reputation is ruined at this grand meeting. Let's see if she can still be arrogant in the future. This kind of person who doesn't have a family backing her up, once she's rejected by the sect, she's nothing. Only then was Tao Shui happy. She praised. You're right. Let's just wait and see. When Sima Yue returned to her residence, a group of maidservants rushed out to welcome her. Lady Saintess. Sima Yue glanced at them, thinking that Zhong Zhenghanyu really knew how to enjoy life. Gu Shi, come with me. The rest of you can leave. Yes, Saintess. Sima Yue brought Gu Shi into the house. She asked, did anything happen in the city recently? It's about the same as when Saintess left. But recently, it seems like many people with higher status have returned. It seems that Holy Sun has returned too. Sima Yue's breath tightened. Holy Sun? Wasn't that Wu Lingyu? He's back? Why didn't she know? She suppressed her restless heart and made herself sound calm. She asked, didn't he not return for a long time? Why would he return at this time? He said that the pavilion master asked him to return. It should be for this meeting. Gu Shi said. Is there anything else? Sima Yue asked. Everything else is about the same as before. There's nothing special. Gu Shi said. Oh right, there's one more thing. I heard that Holy Sun brought back a woman. That woman is very liked by the pavilion master. She relied on the relationship between the pavilion master and Holy Sun to be very arrogant in the sect. He brought a woman back? Sima Yue suddenly felt that the blood in her body was surging. There was a primitive force that was about to explode. Yes. Gu Shi saw her face change. Saintess Yu. Sima Yue knew that she overreacted. She didn't deny it. She coughed twice and said, don't tell anyone. Gu Shi immediately understood what she meant. So Saintess liked Holy Sun too. She nodded and said, I won't tell anyone. Sima Yue then asked a few other questions. Gu Shi answered them one by one. Because her tone and understanding of the situation was the same as before, she didn't think that the person in front of her wasn't Zhong Zhenghanyu. At this time, a white paper crane flew in. Zhong Zhenghanyu looked at it and said to Gu Shi, I'm going to see the pavilion master. She had to face what was to come. She also wanted to ask Wu Lingyu why he didn't contact her when he came back. She went to the huge palace in the city. There weren't many people here. Those who could enter were people with status. She walked into the spacious hall. There was only a middle-aged man sitting on top. That man had ordinary facial features. Because of the holy aura he exuded, it was more comfortable to look at. But after glancing at him, she lowered her eyes and didn't look at him anymore. Hanyu greets Pavilion Master. Sima Yue followed Zhongzheng Hanyu and bowed. Qiuqi didn't open his eyes and didn't speak. He let her do that. After a while, he opened his mouth and said, Hanyu, you didn't handle the matter well this time. Hanyu knows her mistake. Please punish me, Pavilion Master. Sima Yue didn't explain. Because there was no point in talking to Qiuqi. Qiuqi opened his eyes and said, That side is very angry. Tell me what happened. It's like this. After I arrived there, I went to check on the selected girls. After confirming that there were no mistakes, I went to see them according to Pavilion Master's instructions. But I waited there for 2 days and no one came. When I went back, those girls had already been rescued. Sima Yue said, Pavilion Master, could it be that they did it on purpose? If I had been there, those women wouldn't have been rescued. Qiuqi stared at her for a while and said, No, but they must have found something. That's why they gave up on meeting you. You didn't bring that thing to them? Sima Yue took out a black box. Although she was curious about it, she didn't touch it in order to not arouse suspicion. Qiuqi waved his hand and the box flew into his hand. After confirming that the box wasn't opened, his expression became better. At this time, a guard's voice came from outside. Greetings to Holy Son. Pavilion Master is meeting Holy Daughter. You can't enter without orders. Chapter 1725. Really? Then I'll wait. A gentle voice came from outside. Hearing this voice, he could feel the gentle smile of the person outside. Sima Yue tried her best to restrain herself before she could stop herself from looking back. Qiuqi put away the box and said to the people outside, Let him in. Then a tall figure walked in from outside. Sima Yue turned around and saw Wu Lingyu's familiar face. He's back. Why didn't they contact him? She stared straight at him, trying to read his face, but he didn't even look at her. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Wu Lingyu bowed slightly to Qiuqi Lingyu. Why are you here today? Qiuqi asked. It's about the conference. I think there are some things that need to be discussed. Wu Lingyu said. Since you're in charge of this matter, you don't have to tell me the details. You can make the decision. Qiuqi said. Yes, but I think it's better to report some things to you. Wu Lingyu said. Go ahead. When Wu Lingyu talked about the preparations for the conference, Sima Yue kept staring at him. In the end, even Qiuqi noticed that something was wrong. Hanyu, what are you looking at? Qiuqi asked. Wu Lingyu also looked over. Sima Yue seemed to have confirmed something. She smiled and said, Others have told me that the Holy Son is incomparably handsome. There are also people who say that men who work hard are the most charming. They are attracted to the saint. Natural and unrestrained, without the slightest shyness, as if the person who was staring at him just now wasn't her at all. Wu Lingyu glanced at her and smiled. Thank you for your praise, Saintess. I'm just stating facts. Sima Yue turned her gaze to Qiuqi after a while. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu walked out together. When they were outside and there was no one around, Wu Lingyu said, This was supposed to be done by the saint and saintess together. I was the one doing it before. Now that you're back, you have to help. Sima Yue glanced at him indifferently. Since the Pavilion Master has given you full authority, Master Saint, please take charge until the end. With that, she left without looking back. Wu Lingyu looked at her back and murmured, Interesting, interesting. What's interesting? Who's interested? A fiery red figure jumped into his sight. Did you peek at other women behind my back again? I just met an interesting person, Wu Lingyu said. You mean that woman? You've taken a fancy to her? The woman in red curled her lips. That's a very dangerous thing to do. You're thinking too much. Wu Lingyu patted the woman's head and left. The woman in red snorted unhappily at his back and smiled at Sima Yue's back. Sima Yue did not return to Zhongzheng Hanyu's palace. Instead, she left the main hall and turned into a palace at the side. Master Saintess. The guard bowed to her, but was actually blocking her way. I want to see the Vice Pavilion Master. Please inform him. Sima Yue said to the guard. The guard looked at her suspiciously but still turned and went in. Zhong Zhenghanyu wants to see me? Tang Yin was surprised. He wasn't familiar with Zhong Zhenghanyu. No, to be exact, Zhong Zhenghanyu knew that he didn't like her. She had never come to find him before. Why did she come today? I don't want to see her. Just say I'm busy. Tang Yin didn't want to see her and rejected her. The guard went out but came back in after a while. Vice Pavilion Master, Saintess said she missed the time we met outside Fair Eastern City. If you don't see her, you'll be struck by lightning. She said that because you want to see her. Tang Yin was stunned and said to the guard, invite her in. The guard went out and quickly brought Sima Yue in. Tang Yin waved his hand and dismissed the people around him. You've got guts. You dared to sneak in here. He looked at Sima Yue and tried to figure out how she turned into Zhong Zhenghanyu. I heard that the Sima family's spirit technique is fusion. Did you fuse Zhong Zhenghanyu with you? I have a contract beast that can transform. Sima Yue found a seat and sat down. How did you sneak in here? Tang Yin asked. Sima Yue explained the situation simply and asked, what's up with that fake Saintess? Where's Lingyu? Is he back? How do you know he's fake and not him? Tang Yin asked. Although he looks exactly the same as Lingyu and imitates his movements. But as long as I look him in the eye, I know that he's a fake. Sima Yue said. It's not your original appearance. It's not strange that he can't recognize you. Tang Yin said. If he's affectionate towards you now, you'll probably flip out again. It's not the way he looks at me, but the way he looks at others. Sima Yue said. Tell me, who is that person? You think I know? If you don't know, who else would know? Sima Yue looked at him. Is that person from the Devil Clan too? No, but he listens to Lingyu. Tang Yin said. Do you know that Lingyu has a substitute? It's him. What about him? He's still in the Devil World. What's the situation in the Devil World now? After so many years, he still can't handle the Devil King? The situation in the Devil World has always been grim. Tang Yin said. The Devil King has ruled the Devil World for hundreds of thousands of years. You can imagine how powerful they have become from generation to generation. As for Lingyu, even if he still has some descendants following him, to fight against such a powerful figure, Sima Yue didn't need to say the rest. She understood what he meant. She didn't need to guess to know how bad his situation was. What can I do for him? She rubbed her eyebrows. She was a little frustrated. You're fine. That's the best help you can give him, Tang Yin said. The situation there is very complicated. Don't think about going over. I know. I'm not powerful enough now. I won't go over and cause trouble for him, Sima Yue said. That's good. Tang Yin knew that she wasn't an irrational person. Speaking of which, when are you leaving? I remember Lingyu saying that you're investigating the black-robed men. Yes. But after so many years, there hasn't been any results. Tang Yin shrugged his shoulders. He was now sure that this matter was definitely related to the Sage Pavilion. I originally planned to come here to investigate the black-robed men. Aren't we going to hold a joint meeting now? Let's wait for this matter to pass before looking at the situation. Sima Yue stood up. I'll leave the black-robed men's matter to you. I think that with this, you should be able to gain something. I'll go back first. If there's anything, I'll contact you again. Chapter 1726. After leaving Tang Yin's palace, Sima Yue was not in a good mood. Wu Lingyu was in such a difficult situation in the Devil Realm, but there was nothing she could do for him. Strength. If only her strength was a little higher. She clenched her hands and breathed deeply to relax herself. Recently, she had been thirsting for power too much. Hey, stop right there. A red figure landed in front of her from the beam, blocking her path. Who are you? Sima Yue sized her up. You are the woman that the Holy Sun brought back. How did you know? The woman was a little surprised. Everyone in the sage pavilion is dressed in white. At most, they would embroider different embroidery on their clothes. Sima Yue said. You're dressed in red, yet you're still so ostentatious. Who else could it be other than the woman that the saint brought back? Your reaction is really fast. My name is Hongwei. Sima Yue nodded at her and wanted to walk around her. However, Hongwei took a step to the side and continued to block her way. What do you want? Sima Yue looked at the person in front of her with an unfriendly expression. You're so rude. I've already told you who I am. Why don't you tell me your name? Don't you know that politeness demands reciprocity? Hongwei rebuked. Although she knew that the Holy Sun had brought back Wu Lingyu's people, she was in a bad mood and didn't want to pay attention to anyone. She wasn't an unreasonable woman. She glanced at Hongwei and said, Others may spoil you, but you have to know that the world doesn't revolve around you. I'll spare your life today for Wu Lingyu's sake, but I won't let you off so easily next time. She emphasized the words Wu Lingyu. Hongwei should be able to understand that her Wu Lingyu was not this fake Holy Sun. After that, she walked around Hongwei and left without even looking at her. Hongwei was very angry after being threatened. She wanted to stop Sima Yue, but she found that she couldn't move at all. What did you do to me? She was shocked that she didn't notice it at all. It's just a small punishment. You'll be fine after 2 hours. Sima Yue's voice came from behind. She was so angry that she wanted to stomp her feet. Although Tang Yun's palace was not as lively as the other few vice pavilion masters, there were still quite a number of people coming and going. The passers-by saw her standing there motionless and couldn't help but point at her. What are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll dig your eyes out. She roared at those people. The people in the sage pavilion naturally knew of her special identity. After being yelled at by her, they all left obediently. Hongwei waited for 2 hours to pass before she could move her restrained body. She angrily ran into Tang Yun's palace. When she saw Tang Yun leaning on a low couch, the anger in her heart grew. You're just going to watch me get bullied outside? She sat opposite Tang Yun and said angrily. Tang Yun looked up at her. You asked for it. Are you really my brother? I'm your sister. You're just going to watch me get bullied outside. You're saying I asked for it? Hongwei snatched the book from his hand. It's not that I don't want to help you. It's that I can't help you, Tang Yun said. I don't even dare to offend that woman. You still went to find trouble with her when she was in a bad mood. Did you ask for it? You don't even dare to offend her? I'm just a holy maiden. You're still a vice pavilion master, all right? Useless. Hongwei said disdainfully. She's not just any holy maiden. You wanted to come here to play, so I let them bring you in. In order to prevent you from causing trouble for me, I'll give you a warning. In this world, there's a woman that we can't offend. So you can't go find trouble with her. Exposing our identities is a small matter. Being punished by the Lord is a big matter. Tang Yun warned. TSK, although the Lord is a holy son, he only has that Sima Yue in his heart, right? He would punish you for a holy maiden. He's not the kind of person who would have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Unless that holy maiden is. Hongwei paused. Her expression turned horrified. She covered her mouth and said, You're saying that she's that woman? Sima Yue? Tang Yun snatched his book back from her hand and gave her, You're not that stupid expression. Hongwei was stunned. She actually offended that woman just now? Woo-woo, she wouldn't be skinned alive and thrown into a smelly ditch, right? Why didn't you remind me earlier? Are you still my brother? She looked at Tang Yun resentfully. Who asked you to find trouble with her without asking me? Tang Yun didn't sympathize with her at all. You're always so brainless. You should learn from your mistakes. I saw that she attracted the Holy Sun's attention, so I was unhappy. Who knew that it would be her? Hongwei mumbled. Brother, stop reading. Quickly think of a solution for me. I don't want to be thrown into a smelly ditch by the Lord again. Don't worry. Since she's already punished you, she won't bother about it anymore. She's not a petty person. Tang Yun wasn't worried at all. Just don't provoke her in the future. That's it? Are you sure? Hong Wei was still worried. All right, hurry up and leave. Don't bother me in front of me. Tang Yun waved his hand impatiently and chased her out. Hong Wei came out of the palace and muttered, I have to give it to the Holy Sun. Don't do stupid things like me. When Sima Yue returned to Zhongzheng Hanyu's place, her emotions had already stabilized. She thought of the fake Holy Sun, and felt that this alliance would be established because the conditions given by the Sage Pavilion were too tempting. No, I have to inform them first. If not, when the alliance is established, it will be too late for him to think of a solution. She let me air transform into Zhongzheng Hanyu's appearance, then she transformed into an inconspicuous servant girl. She quietly left the place and found a safe place. She called out Little Lucky and the ancient spirit beast that was protecting him. Little Lucky, I have something for you. She told Little Lucky about the current situation, then said, I'll think of a way to let you leave this city. Do you have a way to find your father? Little Lucky nodded. After you go out, tell your father this news. Then stay by his side and don't leave, understand? With that, she called Little Roar out. Little Roar will go with you. If there's any news, I'll let you know through him. Little Roar and Little Lucky had a good relationship. Now that the ancient spirit beast was in trouble, he would definitely not shirk his duty. However, it was the only one who knew what it was thinking. Although Little Lucky didn't want to leave her, he was much more mature now and understood the seriousness of the situation. He could only agree. Sima Yue faced the sky. I'll have to trouble you to help me send them out. The guy in the sky hesitated for a moment. Then, a spatial tunnel appeared in front of Little Lucky. After Little Lucky and the others entered, it slowly closed. Although there were many experts in the Saint City, no one noticed the change in space. If it was her, she wouldn't be able to do it. Chapter 1727. In the following days, Sima Yue would often walk around the Sage Pavilion, trying to find out the relationship between the black-robed men and them, but to no avail. It was only then that she understood how well the Sage Pavilion kept their secrets. It was no wonder that Tang Yun had not been able to find any direct contact after so many years. During this period of time, the Sage Pavilion officially sent out invitations to those powers, inviting them to discuss the matter of the Devil's Sword. Most of the forces that received the invitation expressed that they would send people to participate. At the same time, there were rumors circulating outside, saying that the Sage Pavilion was related to the mysterious black-robed man, and that the Sage Pavilion had sent people to kill the person who had saved the girls. When such news appeared at this time, Qiuqi was so angry that he called Sima Yue over to scold her. Knowing that there was a problem on Gu Qing's side, he directly sent people to capture Gu Qing. Sima Yue was locked up to face the wall, and was not allowed to come out until the meeting. By the time the Saint and Tang Yun received the news, Sima Yue was already locked up. Although they were worried, they couldn't directly plead for her. After all, they weren't close on the surface. Sima Yue was not worried at all. It was just facing the wall. What was the big deal? But when she came to the place where she faced the wall, she found out that the Sage Pavilion's punishment was rather perverted. The place to face the wall was at the bottom of a cliff called the Forgetful Cliff. Flying was not allowed here, so after going down, there was no way to come back up without someone to pick him up. If that was the case, then it wasn't a big deal. The most important thing was that this place was incomparably cold, and they couldn't use their spiritual energy to resist it. This made them reflect in the bone-chilling cold. The person who sent her down knew her position in the Sage Pavilion, so he didn't make things difficult for her. He gave her a bottle of pills and said, "This can help you resist the cold." Sima Yue took the pill and said gratefully, "Thank you. Saintess, just stay here for the next few months. Don't go inside." "Is there anything inside?" "We don't know either, but anyone who entered the depths would have already. So, Saintess, it's best that you don't go too deep." "I understand. Thank you for telling me." Sima Yue smiled at them. When the two men saw that she had taken their advice, they didn't delay any longer. They sat on their flying beasts and quickly disappeared into the thick fog. Sima Yue waited for them to disappear before she carefully observed the bottom of the cliff. The entire bottom of the cliff was shrouded in a layer of white fog. It was thickest 100 meters above the ground, making it almost impossible to see the cliffs above. It was much thinner down below. At least it wasn't to the point where it couldn't differentiate between humans and beasts from 5 meters away and humans from 10 meters away. She sensed that the white fog seemed to suppress her spiritual energy, which was why she couldn't use her spiritual energy here. Moreover, the temperature of the white fog was very low. Even if it wasn't frozen, it still made people feel a bone-piercing cold. She sensed for a moment and found that her light attribute spiritual energy was suppressed here. But the ghost energy in her body was not. Thus, she kept all her light attribute spiritual energy back into her dantian, and then called out the ghost energy. Soon, she no longer felt cold. She put away the pills that the guard had given her, and walked towards the depths of the cliff. The more they didn't let her go, the more curious she was about what was inside. At first, she thought that those people had died because their spiritual energy was suppressed by the white fog. But when she walked deeper into the depths of the cliff, she found that the suppression on her spiritual energy was getting weaker and weaker. Not long after, she found a few skeletons. From their clothes, they were all from the Sage Pavilion, and they were all women. These people are dead. Aren't the people from the Sage Pavilion coming to collect their corpses? She despised the way the Sage Pavilion did things, but she didn't plan to collect their corpses. I wonder where this cliff leads to. She continued forward and found a few more skeletons. It seemed that they had been here for a long time, and they seemed to have been killed by spirit beasts. They flaunt themselves as so holy and righteous, but no one cares about these people who died. She looked down on the Sage Pavilion more and more. It seems that these people were attacked by spirit beasts, so they died here. From the aura left behind by the skeletons, these people weren't weak, and there were a few of them together. Under the situation where their spiritual energy wasn't suppressed, they actually died here. It seemed that this place was indeed dangerous. I feel a strong aura here. Little Seven suddenly transmitted. And there's an aura that I'm familiar with. You're familiar with it? Could it be at Qingyi's level again? Sima Yue called Little Seven out. Little Seven came out with Qingyi. After Little Seven came out, she sensed it and said, it's best that we don't go forward. Is it really at the level of an antique? Sima Yue called out. Thinking of Qingyi, she smiled at him. I wasn't talking about you. Qingyi didn't mind her words and said, there is indeed a strong aura here. Is it the same kind of plant as you guys? Sima Yue knew it. Yes. Qingyi nodded. I feel that its aura is comparable to mine. Sima Yue frowned. The Sage Pavilion actually had such a powerful guy. Under normal circumstances, only plants can live for so long. Little Seven said, but you don't have to worry. Like Qingyi, he can't just casually attack. Sima Yue remembered what Qingyi said and said, even if he can't casually attack, he can provide resources for the Sage Pavilion. Otherwise, the Sage Pavilion wouldn't be above the other powers. The guy here can't be the divine medicine phoenix Nirvana, right? No. Qingyi said confidently. Even if it's a divine medicine, it's not as valuable as this guy. Sima Yue's eyes flashed and said, since he can't casually attack, then I can go and see him. Who knows, I might be able to kidnap him and destroy the Sage Pavilion's foundation. Qingyi, Little Seven was very excited and pulled her hand saying, good. The Sage Pavilion has caused you so much suffering. Let's go and take back some of the costs. Little Seven, can you deal with that guy? Qingyi asked. Although I can't remember who it is, my sixth sense tells me that guy shouldn't be my enemy. As long as it's not an enemy, then it's easy to deal with. Let's go. Little Seven said happily. Qingyi couldn't reject Little Seven's request, so he could only follow her. But they hadn't walked far when a spirit beast suddenly jumped out and blocked their way. Sima Yue looked at it. It looked like a tiger but wasn't a tiger. It looked like a leopard but wasn't a leopard. It looked like a bird but wasn't a bird. It had a strong aura and looked like an old guy. It was stronger than her spirit beasts. She guessed that its strength was about the same as a high paragon spirit master. Chapter 1728. Sima Yue looked at the spirit beast and finally understood why all those people died here. In her heart, she compared her opponent's strength with hers. Her chances of winning were 0. However, she looked at Qingyi beside her and controlled her legs that wanted to run away. They still had experts on their side. However, the other party didn't kill them as she had expected. Instead, he stared at the three of them for a while before saying, "My master invites you." After that, he turned around and walked away with graceful steps. Sima Yue glanced at Little Seven. The two of them blinked and followed the spirit beast. Seeing the two of them like this, Qingyi helplessly shook his head and followed them. The spirit beast took them for a long distance. Sima Yue could feel the aura of several spirit beasts along the way, and they were all very powerful. Those auras had been locked onto them from the moment they entered their territory to the moment they left. If it wasn't for the spirit beast leading them, they would have probably rushed out already. These spirit beasts aren't from the Sage Pavilion, right? Little Seven said. If they are, then we're in trouble. In her heart, Sima Yue would eventually go against the Sage Pavilion because the Sage Pavilion had participated in the annihilation of the Shiman clan. Furthermore, Paramount Valley had annihilated the Zhongzheng clan and Yinyang Palace, which had harmed the Sage Pavilion's interests. More importantly, it had disgraced the Sage Pavilion. Based on the Sage Pavilion's personality, this was something that they would definitely not tolerate. They had to get back at them. Furthermore, if they knew that Sima Yue was the all-elemental spirit master that they were looking for, they would not rest until they were dead. If these spirit beasts were all from the Sage Pavilion, then it would be troublesome for them. They were definitely strong opponents. When the spirit beast in front heard Little Seven's words, it sneered. "In this world, other than master, who else can make us serve?" His words were filled with disdain towards the Sage Pavilion. Sima Yue pursed her lips and thought to herself, "Then why are you guys staying in the Sage Pavilion?" After walking for a while, Sima Yue thought that they had not walked too far, but when they arrived, she realized that they were already very far away from the holy city. She thought of the spirit beast's leisurely pace. It seemed simple, but every step it took was meticulous. Sima Yue was shocked and thought to herself, "Ground shrinking. We're here, let's go in." Sima Yue did not know where they were. She took a step forward and felt as if she had entered a forest. She felt much more comfortable. This is the power of the soul. Qingyi felt the aura in the air and knew who it was. Little Seven also remembered. She pulled Sima Yue's hand and said excitedly, You, I know who this guy is. The things in the air are very good. You should inhale more. When we get back, we'll trick him into leaving and you'll make a killing." Sima Yue was astonished. "Is it that powerful? Do you know what it is?" It was the Tree of Souls that was on par with Qingyi. If you can absorb its essence, it'll be of great help to your soul power. Little Seven took a deep breath. "This is the aura it emits. Don't you feel comfortable after smelling it?" Sima Yue was shocked. There was actually a Tree of Souls that was on par with the Tree of Life. Hee, you little brat. After so many years, you're still the same. An old voice sounded beside her. It was as if the person speaking was right beside her. Grandpa bye. Little Seven let go of Sima Yue's hand and jumped up excitedly. Elder Bai. Qingyi also called out respectfully. This Tree of Souls was even older than the Tree of Life. "Qingyi, you've become a real Tree of Life." Old Bai's voice was filled with excitement. "I didn't think that we'd be alive until today. Grandpa Bai, where are you?" Little Seven did not see the Tree of Souls and pouted. A white light enveloped them and in the next second, they appeared in another place. It was different from Qingyi's huge body from before. Sima Yue only saw an old tree stump that could be hugged by a few people. It was only a few meters tall, and there were a few white leaves on it. "Grandpa Bai, how did you become like this?" Little Seven saw the Tree of Souls and her eyes turned red. She ran over to support the tree trunk and gently stroked the old bark. Her tears fell down. Hee, don't be sad. The Tree of Souls quickly sprouted a shoot from the trunk and stroked her cheeks. "Grandpa Bai, how did you become like this? Where's your big tree crown? Where's your branch?" Little Seven was very sad. She thought that she could reunite with her old friend. She did not expect to see such a scene. Don't cry, child. We should be happy that we can meet again alive. The Tree of Souls comforted. Old Bai, how did you? Qingyi walked over and stroked the wrinkles of the Tree of Life. His voice was choked with sobs. Qingyi, you've grown up. Qingyi blinked his eyes and forced his tears back. He asked, Old Bai, what happened? How did you become like this? Sigh. The Tree of Life sighed deeply. It suddenly felt that little Seven's aura was not right. A power gently stroked her body. You formed a contract with a human? Yes. Little Seven nodded and pointed at Sima Yue. This is my contract, master. How did you form a contract with a human? Could it be that he was forced? No, Grandpa Bai. You did it to save me. Little Seven explained the situation. With Qingyi as a witness, the Tree of Souls did not make things difficult for Sima Yue. However, Sima Yue quickly felt a power enter her sea of consciousness. She saw the scene of her forming a contract with Little Seven, and the things that happened between her and Little Seven. Very quickly, the power was retracted. Not bad, it's rare to have a human like you. Little Seven grabbed the Tree of Life's branch and said, Grandpa Bai, what happened to you? How did you become like this? Did the Sage Pavilion do something to you? Nothing. The Tree of Souls was unwilling to say more. Qingyi used his power to probe the ground and shouted, You've been imprisoned. What? I've been imprisoned? Grandpa Bai, how did you get imprisoned here? Was it done by the Sage Pavilion? Little Seven jumped up. I knew that the Sage Pavilion was up to no good. I didn't think that they would dare to hurt you. Sima Yue saw Qingyi and Little Seven's reaction and asked, What's going on? Little Seven scurried back to Sima Yue's side and pulled her hand. You save Grandpa Bai. Grandpa Bai is so pitiful. Sima Yue patted her hand. Do you still need to use this on me? But can you let me know what's going on first? That you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.